Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Crossing the ninja world, the beginning became Uchiha Obito. Chapter 81. Hey, you don't bring soil, why do you have time to come to Konoha today, you are so busy. Obito's figure had just arrived at the Hokage building, and Kakashi, who was lying on the deck chair in front of the building and looking at the heaven, saw him say hello. Now the relationship between Obito and Kakashi has eased a lot. Although the two still have some grievances in their hearts, Kakashi is still very happy that his old friend is still alive and has reformed. Kakashi, did Orochimaru come to find Naruto recently? Obito asked. Kakashi thought for a while, then nodded, it should be. Orochimaru has indeed come here several times in the past few months. It seems that he wants to teach Naruto how to practice ninjutsu, but you are not ignorant of Naruto's character. I guess he refused in the end. Obito then told Kakashi about Orochimaru's research just now. Kakashi Night Market was shocked and speechless, and after a while he said, this guy Orochimaru is too crazy, he didn't hurt Naruto anything. Obito shrugged, and said, Oshimaru said he didn't have it, let's go ask Minato-sensei and we'll find out. Kakashi nodded, and the two went up to the Hokage building to find Minato. Ah, there is such a thing, I don't know, I'll ask Naruto later, but I think Naruto is still alive and kicking these days, there should be no problem. Minato was also taken aback when he heard what the two said, but he didn't take it seriously. Obito hesitated for a moment, but still asked, Minister Minato, where is Rin? Is she still refusing to forgive me? Minato glanced at Obito, sighed, and said, I've already told her about this matter, and she didn't object, so I think it must have been figured out. Hearing these words, Obito let out a long sigh of relief, but felt a little disappointed. Seeing this, Minato smiled and said, I believe you will be able to make her fall in love with you again. Obito smiled wryly when he heard this sentence, and said, if that was the case, I would have done it a long time ago, so there is no need to wait until now. She probably doesn't even bother to pay attention to me now. She probably should avoid seeing me. Minato fell silent when he heard this. He didn't know how to comfort Obito, so he had to change the subject and said, Obito, I have something very important to tell you. I'm afraid this matter will involve the Otsutsuki clan. Oh, what's the matter? Seeing Minato's seriousness, Obito asked suspiciously, but listened carefully. According to the information I got, Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, got a jade seal of the Land of Fire 20 years ago, and something unusual happened on that day. 20 years ago. Inside the Hokage building, in the third Hokage's office, a young man in a gray kimono was tied up in front of the third Hokage's desk with scars all over his body. The third Hokage sat silently on the chair, his face uncertain. Who sent you? After a long time, Hiruzen Sarutobi asked, his voice low and hoarse. The day before yesterday Sarutobi Hiruzen obtained an unknown piece of jade seal. Sarutobi Hiruzen kept it out of curiosity, and notified the daimyo about it. After the identification, the second daimyo told Sarutobi Hiruzen with an excited face that this was the fragment of the Guizuo jade seal that had been lost for hundreds of years in the Land of Fire. Unexpectedly, the black-robed man sneaked into Konoha and stole the piece of jade seal the next day, but the ninjas of Anbu and Genbu found it quickly and arrested him. Mr. Hinosuke Itsuki sent me there. The man answered weakly with scars all over his body. Otsutsuki Enosuke. Hearing this, Sandemu frowned slightly, obviously surprised by this. Even though some of the famous ninjas in the ninja world have retired to the background, he still knows all of them, but he has never heard of the name Otsutsuki Yenjirju. What did Otsutsuki Yanosuke send you to do? Third dame asked again. That's right, Mr. Yanosuke heard that you have a stone tablet in this world, and that stone tablet is a fragment of the Fire Country seal owned by the Fire Country daimyo. Otsutsuki Hinosuke heard that the stone tablet you collected in this world is a fragment of the Fire Country seal, so he ordered me to find it. The gray-robed man replied. Hearing the gray-robed man's words, the third generation's brows were furrowed, his face uncertain. He naturally knew Hanosuke's idea of striking the fragment of the National Seal of Fire, but he didn't expect Hanosuke Otsutsuki to send a subordinate to investigate. If Hanosuke Otsutsuki found out where he put the fragment, then he would be in big trouble, so the current situation is what he should do. This matter can't be told to anyone. After a long time, Sandemu thought in his mind that apart from people who are very close like Minato, only people like Danzo know. A strong man who has never heard of the name Taboo attaches so much importance to this jade seal fragment, and the Fire Country daimyo is also mysterious about this jade seal fragment, which shows that this is by no means ordinary product and must be kept secret. What is the use of this jade seal fragment? Hiruzuru Sarutobi narrowed his eyes slightly, staring at the man in black robe and asked. The jade seal of the Land of Fire is an item that can open the Otsutsuki Ninja Jade Ancestral Land. The black-robed man replied respectfully, and as far as I know, this incident seems to involve something about Mr. Otsutsuki Kagaya's sister, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Hearing these words, Hiruzuru Sarutobi's eyes suddenly widened, his eyes flashed with astonishment, he thought of something, and immediately asked, Kagaya Otsutsuki. Why is this name so familiar? However, the black-robed man kept his mouth shut. No matter how Sarutobi Hiruzen asked him, he would not speak anymore. It had been 20 years since this incident, and the fragment of the Jade Seal of the Fire Nation has been kept in the Hokage building. Unexpectedly, a few days ago, Minato discovered that the Jade Seal of the Nation of Fire had disappeared again. Minato suddenly turned pale with fright, and asked many Anbu guards who guarded the Hokage building and said that they did not see who did it. There are only two possibilities, one is that an insider stole it, and the other is that the enemy who stole the Jade Seal fragments has a special concealment method, so that neither the left nor the right Anbu saw him. Obito was numb after listening to it. It seems that this must be the butterfly effect caused by a series of things he did after time travel. Unexpectedly, there are other Otsutsuki clans coming out now. It seems that there are some things in the body of the Otsutsuki clan that they cannot control, and these things are their blood. This bloodline does not have a great influence on other ninjas in the ninja world, but it does not know how much it will affect him. As for the person who stole the Jade Seal, Obito can already guess it, so that he can sneak into the Hokage building and steal the Jade Seal fragments without anyone noticing, except for Heizi, who has been missing for a long time. There is no one else. In a clearing in the forest, a black figure emerged from the ground. If Obito was here, he would definitely recognize it as Highway. And in front of Highway is an ordinary man without any chakra fluctuations, with fair skin, 2 tentacles on his head, and a pair of reincarnation eyes. This man is the Pillar of Datongmuyen. Pillar of Datongmuyen, are you sure you want to help me? Heiju opened his mouth lightly, his voice a little hoarse and unpleasant. That's right, I want to leave here and go to the outside world. Datongmuyenju nodded. Highway didn't continue to say anything, but turned his head and walked towards a tombstone next to him. Datongmuyenju waved at Heiju, motioning for him to come over, and Highway also followed to the side of Datongmuyenju. This tombstone is the ancestor of another Otsutsuki clan who came to the ninja world. Datongmuyenju picked up a wooden stick next to him and knocked a few times towards the tombstone, and then a powerful chakra gushed out from the top of the tombstone, forming a huge palm, directly crushing the tombstone of the ancestors of the Datongmu family. The moment the ancestors of the Otsutsuki family were crushed, the surrounding chakras suddenly changed, forming black holes one after another. These black holes continuously absorbed the surrounding chakras, causing the surrounding temperature to drop rapidly. The original trees around have all withered and turned into a pile of coke. And the bones of the ancestors of the Datongmu family were also turned into ashes and powder, leaving only a piece of gray paper. Seeing this situation, Heiju's pupils shrank. Master Datongmuyenju, what's going on here? This is my ability, Otsutsuki Yenju said lightly. The Otsutsuki family is a very powerful race. They can control all chakras, including wind, water and fire, but at the same time their bodies are also very strong. Even if a mountain is crushing them, they can still stand firm. Master Pillar of Flame, what should we do now? This place is really weird. Heiju said, Master Pillar of Flame, if you need me, just ask me. You are what I need. Datongmuyenju stretched out his right hand, and an invisible force enveloped Highway's body. Ah! Highway suddenly let out a cry of pain, and then his body slowly disappeared here. After Highway completely disappeared, Datongmuyenju stretched out a finger, and bounced a transparent glass ball from the ground. The glass ball drew a circle in the air and fell to the ground. Datongmuyenju squatted down, touched the surface of the glass ball with his hands, with a satisfied look on his face, and murmured, That's right, I found a good thing. The eyes of Pillar of Flame shot out a burst of green light, and the picture in the glass ball immediately appeared in Heiju's mind. Is this the lineage of Otsutsuki Kagaya Hime? Not bad, it really deserves to be the most powerful bloodline race. Pillar of Flame's voice was full of excitement, and his face was even more full of greed. Heiju glanced at the picture in the glass ball, then put the glass ball into his pocket. Otsutsuki clan, just wait, everything here will belong to me. A gleam of coldness flashed in Datong Muyonjerju's eyes, and then his figure flickered and disappeared on the spot. After the pillar of great tube wood flame left, the glass ball also dissipated, as if it had never appeared before. At this time, the pillar of Datong Muyon had left the forest and was running towards a certain direction. Datong Muyonjerju put the glass bead on top of his head, and then the glass bead melted into it. At the same time, the memories of the highway lineage, including Itsuki Yumura, Itsuki Yoromo and Itsuki Kagaya Hime, entered his mind. Elder sister. Seeing Itsuki Kagaya's figure, Itsuki Yenjerju muttered to himself. I want to leave here to find everything that belongs to me. Datong Yenjerju clenched his fists and said, then the ground under his feet shook, and a big tree was pulled up from the ground. Datong Muyonjerju jumped up, stepping on the big tree and galloping forward quickly. This big tree was planted by the ancestors of the Otsutsuki family, and it is one of the strongest trees in the Otsutsuki family. After about half a quarter of an hour, the big tree stopped at the edge of a valley. In front of the big tree, there was a huge cave, and the pillar of flame of the big tube wood jumped down and walked into the cave. The cave is a little dark and very humid, and the air is filled with a strong smell of decay. This is the place where the ancestors of the Otsutsumuyan clan lived. In the middle of the cave, there is a road leading to the depths of the valley. In a place deep in the valley, there is a row of stone tables with several rotting corpses placed on it. The Itsuki clan who came to the ninja world at the beginning was not only Itsuki Kagaya Hime, but also Itsuki Kagaya's lineage, and Itsuki Kagaya is the half-sister of Itsuki Yenjerju. But soon after Otsutsuki Yenjerju came to the ninja world, he had to fall into a deep sleep due to the loss of too much power, and he didn't wake up until 20 years ago. After learning that his sister Itsuki Kagaya was sealed by her two filial sons, Itsuki Yenjerju was furious. At that time, his strength had not yet fully recovered, so he could only wait until Heizi and Uchiha Obito broke up and found him. For this real filial son who was determined to resurrect his sister, Itsuki Yenjerju admired him very much. Countless memories merged into Otsutsuki Yenjerju's brain, and he couldn't help roaring. Seeing his sister Otsutsuki Kagaya being insulted like that by a tribal man and sealed by his two unfilial sons, Otsutsuki Yenjerju's anger can be imagined. The power of the Datong Muyon pillar is no small matter, this punch is enough to shatter the mountain peak. Following this attack, Datong Muyonjerju also gradually came to his senses, and he became more determined in his heart to avenge his sister, undo her seal and let her return to freedom. As for Highway, Otsutsuki's pillar of flame did not kill him, but let his soul temporarily reside in his artifact, and wait for the right opportunity to give Highway a better body. After all, although Highway is the third son of Itsuki Kagaya, he has not inherited much blood from the Otsutsuki clan, and his combat effectiveness is not good. Obito has a strong premonition that the Otsutsuki clan who stole the jade seal fragments will probably come to Konoha village again, so Obito has not left Konoha village, but plans to stay for a while. On Konoha village main street, Uzumaki Naruto, Inuzuka-ya, Akamichi Choji, and Nara Shikamaru are eating ramen at Ikiraku Ramen Restaurant. It's so rare that someone would invite us to dinner at this time. Choji Akamichi asked with a smile. Although this was something to be happy about, he was very surprised. After all, Choji liked to eat everything. Well, yes, now our Naruto has really changed its guns. It used to be a demon fox that everyone beats, but now it is the son of Prince Konoha and a hero. Inuzuka-ya said with a smile on the side. Shikamaru curled his lips and sighed, feeling that it was really troublesome. Since Nara Shikahisa resumed his role as Hokage of Konoha village, Nara Shikahisa asked him to get in touch with the Prince Naruto more, which can be regarded as a kind of political communication. Naruto still looks like an optimist. It seems that nothing will be taken to heart. Choji Akamichi took a sip of the noodle soup with a smile. Shikamaru, you don't have to be envious. After Naruto becomes Hokage, we will all be popular around Hokage, and many people will come to treat you to dinner. Oh, it doesn't matter if you don't mention it. Shikamaru waved his hand. He knew that Choji Akamichi was preoccupied with eating. Akamichi Choji looked at Shikamaru, and found that Shikamaru seemed to be preoccupied at this time, so he asked, Shikamaru-kun, what's the matter, did you encounter any troubles? Shikamaru shook his head. It's not a trouble, just remembered some unhappy things. Uzumaki Naruto was slightly taken aback, then patted Shikamaru on the shoulder, and comforted him. Don't be afraid, just tell me if you have any troubles, although I am not Hokage now, I can also help Shikamaru-kun solve these problems. The corner of Shikamaru's mouth twitched, then nodded perfunctorily, thank you. You're welcome. In fact, what Shikamaru was worried about was the fact that Shikahisanara told him yesterday that the fragments of the Hokage jade seal in the Hokage office building in Konoha village had been stolen. Akamichi Choji and Inuzuka didn't speak anymore, and started eating in silence. Shikamaru was relieved to see that the two of them stopped talking about it, and continued to eat ramen. Miss Suzune, come back quickly. The voice of a woman shouting outside attracted the attention of several people. Naruto and the others looked up and looked outside Yil Ramen restaurant. A middle-aged woman in a kimono was chasing a young girl. The girl is petite, with a tender and delicate face, short purple hair, fair skin, powdery face, black and white eyes, shining with aura. Who is that? Why are you chasing her? Seeing the scene outside, Shikamaru couldn't help asking curiously. Ah, it should be the girl from the Horikita clan in Konoha village. It is said that her name is Suzune, and she is the grandniece of Mrs. Daimyo of the Fire Country. She came to Konoha to get something, but unfortunately Suzune didn't seem to be found. Inuzuka Fang explained. Choji Akamichi also nodded with a sudden realization, so that's the case, no wonder, but why did she run away? Shikamaru spread his hands and said, how do I know? Choji Akamichi shrugged helplessly, and continued to eat with his head down. Inuzuka glanced outside again, and asked, then shall we go out and help? Well, let's go out and have a look. Shikamaru also stood up, ready to go out to have a look, but at this moment Suzune stopped running away suddenly and turned his head. When Shikamaru saw Suzune turn around, his heart skipped a beat. He had an ominous premonition, because just now, he vaguely heard Suzune call, Naruto. Could it be that Suzune knew Naruto? This is not like, Naruto's appearance is not recognized by ordinary people. But Shikamaru's premonition is not wrong. Suzune does know Naruto, and is very familiar. Naruto, are you Naruto? Suzune saw Naruto standing behind Shikamaru, with surprise on his face, strode up to Naruto, looked at Naruto carefully, and then asked. Who are you? Why do you know me? Naruto scratched his head stupidly, looking at a loss. I am Naruto, but I have never met you. You don't remember me. Suzune looked at Naruto disappointedly. Have you forgotten? There is an agreement between us, you promised me to protect me. Promise. Naruto frowned, trying to recall Suzune's appearance, but in the end he couldn't remember anything, so he could only shake his head. I don't remember. Don't remember? How is it possible? You promised me. Lingyan said eagerly. Naruto looked confused. I really don't remember, I don't know you. After hearing the sound of the bell, there were tears in her beautiful eyes. Naruto, you actually forgot about me. Who are you and why should I protect you? Naruto felt that the girl in front of him was very strange. He had no idea what the girl was talking about. Miss Suzune, come back with me. The middle-aged woman finally ran up to her, grabbed Lingyan's arm, and wanted to take her back. No, Naruto-kun, help me. Suzune yelled at Naruto. Naruto was stunned for a moment, and when he saw Lingyan's crying face, he suddenly felt an urge to protect the girl. Let go of her, Naruto shouted at the middle-aged woman. The middle-aged woman trembled in fright. She knew whether the kid in front of her was Nine-Tails Jinchuriki or Naruto, so she didn't dare to provoke him, so she could only obediently let go of Suzune's arm. Suzune was free, and immediately hid behind Naruto, looking at Shikamaru, Choji Akamichi, and Naruto with a much more fierce gaze. Naruto, you can do it. When did you talk to this girl? When Inuzuka saw Naruto and Suzune flirting with each other, he couldn't help laughing. Joked. Shikamaru also laughed, gave Naruto a thumbs up, and praised, Naruto-kun, we are optimistic about you. Choji Akamichi also laughed, and said, Naruto, your good fortune is not shallow. Shikamaru also said, that's right, Naruto, you have to work hard, marry the girl in as soon as possible. After the three teenagers finished speaking, they laughed, leaning forward and backward. Naruto blushed, and quickly explained, no, that's not the case, we don't know each other at all, don't get me wrong. Do not know. What did the girl call you if you don't know someone? You were so excited just now and you said you didn't know each other. A few people still laughed with a hippie smile on their faces. The middle-aged woman was trembling with anger, and with a flushed face, she stretched out her fingers at several Naruto, Shikamaru, Choji and Inuzuka Fang and scolded. You, don't bully people too much, don't think that you are all the high-level children of Konoha village, I can't do anything with you, I warn you, Miss Suzune is a relative of the Fire Country daimyo, you'd better let her go. What are you talking about, old woman, didn't you see that Lingyan is unwilling to go back with you? Naruto responded, not to be outdone. With her right hand tightly holding Lingyan's delicate jade hand, Lingyan felt the warmth of Naruto's hand, her face flushed slightly. You better pray that you won't be troubled by the higher-ups of the Fire Nation in a few days. The middle-aged woman saw that Lingyan could not be taken away, so she could only curse a few words, and went back to find a way to tell the daimyo about it. Seeing the middle-aged woman leave, Naruto looked suspiciously at the delicate and slightly red Lingyan beside him, and asked, you said you knew me, and you said I would protect you. When did we meet? When Lingyan heard Naruto's words, her face became even more blushing, and she didn't know how to explain it for a while. Seeing the appearance of Suzune, Naruto became even more curious, but now is not the time to ask Suzune. I'm leaving first, I'll come back to see you later. After Naruto finished speaking, he was about to leave with Shikamaru and the others. Wait, don't go. Suzune grabbed Naruto's arm in a panic, stared at him with a pair of beautiful eyes, and asked, Asura, do you really not remember me? When Naruto heard the name Asura and looked at Suzune's beautiful lavender eyes, it seemed that his brain had aroused many other memories in a trance. Ringtone, I'm sorry, I seem to remember it, but it doesn't seem very clear. Naruto said apologetically. Seeing that Naruto remembered something, Lingyan showed a bright smile on his face, hugged Naruto's waist, buried his head deeply in his arms, and began to cry in a low voice, and the crying became louder and louder until it became howls. Asura, it's okay, it doesn't matter if you don't remember me. Lingyan whispered in Naruto's arms. After all, Ashura is Naruto's predecessor, and it is normal for Naruto to be unable to remember for a while. Suzune used to be Asura's lover, and it is normal for Asura to lose his memory. Suzune is sad, but not sad, just regretful. It's fine, don't worry. Naruto caressed Suzune's hair to comfort her, and at the same time raised his left hand, stroking the air lightly. Following his actions, the memory of Lingyan in his mind became clearer and clearer. It seemed that he had spent time with this girl a long time ago, and had parted life and death with this girl. In the end, the two went hand in hand to a happy future. But what happened before this, and why he forgot about this girl, he couldn't remember at all. Could it be that he really lost his memory? Or is it because he is dead that he will forget this girl? Thinking about it, Naruto suddenly felt his head hurt so badly, as if countless ants were biting his head. Naruto couldn't bear the pain, covered his head and howled in pain. His body also trembled. Ashura, what's wrong with you? Naruto. Seeing Naruto's painful appearance, everyone hurriedly surrounded him and asked anxiously. I seem to remember something, but my head hurts. Naruto said painfully. When everyone saw Naruto's condition, they immediately understood that Naruto was recovering his memory, so everyone would not dare to disturb Naruto's memory. Seeing that everyone didn't disturb his memory, Naruto gradually calmed down, and began to recall the time he spent with this girl before. Once his memory recovered, it was as surging as a floodgate. Memories of every minute and every second they spent together came back. This feeling of returning to memory is countless times stronger than before, and he even feels that if he chooses to stay with this girl now, he will agree without hesitation. Ringtone, me. Naruto reached out his hand to Suzune to say something, but his vision darkened and he passed out. Send Naruto to Konoha's hospital quickly. Seeing Naruto fainted, Shikamaru yelled immediately. So Akamichi Choji Inuzuka and Nara Shikamaru carried Naruto towards Konoha Hospital together. And Horikita Suzune also followed anxiously. Naruto's consciousness came to a field of flowers. Naruto looked at his body. It seemed that he had grown up a lot, and at the same time he felt his own exuberant vitality. Asura, a gentle female voice sounded, and Naruto turned his head to look, but it was a beautiful girl with long purple hair who looked at him affectionately and consciously. It seemed to be the bell tone after growing up. Ringtone. Naruto wanted to say something, but found himself speechless. When he grew up, Lingyan hugged him and said, "The people of the tribe have already begun to trust you. I believe you will be able to become a leader like your father, Sage of the Six Paths." The environment suddenly began to change. Naruto came to a tribe, and the people of countless tribes stood behind him, sending him a steady stream of chakra. And a man with reincarnation eyes in the sky opened a huge Susanoo and glared at him coldly. "Indra, what do you want to do?" People from some tribes shouted at the man with reincarnation eyes. "My stupid little brother, why do they choose you no matter if it's the father, the people of the tribe, or the ringtone?" Indra yelled frantically, manipulating Susanoo to draw the bow and shoot towards Asura. "Don't be afraid, we are all behind you." The people of the tribe continuously send chakra to Naruto. "I'm fine," Naruto scolded loudly, waving the Six Paths jade in his hand. Strands of golden chakra poured into the jade, turning into a huge golden blade. Boom! There was an explosion, and Indra's Susanoo was directly crushed by Naruto's move. Ah! Indra was thrown into the air and fell to the ground fiercely, with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. The clothes on his body were torn, and the clothes on his chest were torn open, revealing the hideous scar on his chest. "You guys actually unite together to defeat me. It seems that you are tired of living." Indra roared and stood up, summoning the giant Susanoo again. Looking at the giant Susanoo in front of him, a trace of solemnity flashed across Naruto's face. "It's so funny that you stupid people, combined, can still hurt me. You devil, we will not abandon the horde. HMPH, is it?" Boom! Indra's Susanoo rushed to Naruto again, and Naruto cut him down with a sword. Boom! The giant sword collided with Susanoo, and a golden red flame burst out, illuminating the entire tribe. In the end, Indra was still defeated. Asura looked at Indra, who was covered in scars, and his heart softened. After all, this is his own brother. Although the two have turned against each other now, Asura still can't kill him. "Let him go," Asura said wearily, then turned around and left. A flash of resentment flashed in Indra's eyes. He roared, and a strong thunder in his hand pierced towards Asura's chest while Asura and the rest of the tribe were unaware. "Asura, be careful." It was too late when the rest of the tribe realized it. "Shoot." Asura stared at Lingyan, who was standing in front of him with eyes wide open, feeling that his blood was turning cold. Lingyan blocked the blow for Asura, and turned into a blood man, and fell into Asura's arms. "Lingyan, how are you? Take heart," Ashura yelled with tears. Lingyan smiled tiredly, stroked his cheek gently, and said, "I'm fine." "Ringtone, ringtone." Asura looked at Suzune in his arms and cried. "Asura, Suzune is so sleepy, I want to sleep, so I will sleep in your arms for a while. If there is an afterlife in the future, I will go to you again." After saying that, Suzune closed her eyes and died. "Ringtone." Asura yelled in pain, looking at Indra with gloomy eyes. Indra's eyes were full of resentment at this time. He looked at Asura and said, "Asura, are you in pain and want to kill me?" Hearing Indra's words, Naruto was slightly taken aback, didn't speak, and didn't know what to say. He was indeed very angry, and he remembered everything Indra did to him, but he also knew that Indra became like this because of the indifference of the six sages and the tribal people to him. He didn't want Indra to fight with his life. Looking at Indra in front of him, Asura sighed with red eyes and said, "You are a poor person. Do you think that your father and the people in the tribe did something wrong, so you want to take revenge? If you want revenge, you must become a powerful person. You are not even as good as me now, and you have no right to take revenge. Do you think I'm using you? No, isn't that so? It is impossible for a person who is not recognized by the people to become a leader." Asura looked at Indra and said word by word. Ah! Naruto woke up suddenly, looked around him, and found that he was lying in the hospital in Muya village, and Suzune next to him fell asleep on the quilt of his hospital bed. Ringtone. Naruto had already recalled all the memories in the dream just now, and his heart was full of tenderness towards Lingyan. He reached out and stroked Suzune's hair. Suzune was awakened by Naruto, opened her hazy eyes, looked at Naruto and said, "Asura, you are awake. Well, are you okay?" "I'm fine, don't you remember?" Seeing Naruto gently stroking her long hair, Suzune said excitedly. "Yeah." Naruto nodded, then shook his head again. "I remember, you are my lover, but there are still some things I can't remember, such as Indra and the sages of the six paths." "It's okay, I'll help you." Suzune took Naruto's hand and said softly. "Well, Suzune, thank you." Naruto also held Suzune's hand tightly, and said softly. Neither of them spoke, they just looked at each other quietly. "Naruto, have you had breakfast? May I ask someone to bring you food?" "I have already eaten." Naruto looked at the time and said. "Oh, that's good, then you can rest for a while, and I will chat with you later." Lingyan let go of her hanging heart and went out. After Naruto watched Lingyan go out, a complicated look flashed in his eyes. He thought of all the things between him and Suzune. Suzune has a very good personality, she is obedient to Naruto, and she is also very understanding. She never asks Naruto what he wants, as long as it is something she has determined, she will help Naruto achieve it desperately, even if it means sacrificing herself. Naruto likes such girls very much. But this love is destined not to be reciprocated, because they are people from two worlds. He can't marry Suzune, because his relationship with Hinata is well known in Konoha village, he can't be sorry for Hinata and Hinata's family. But Lingyan is different, she is not as hypocritical as other girls. After she knows Naruto's identity, she will not expect Naruto to respond to her. She just hopes that she can silently guard Naruto, and when he needs her, she will appear in front of him without hesitation. Such a girl is irresistible, but such an excellent ringtone, but did not get happiness, such an ending makes people feel regretful. Ringtone, I'm sorry I can't be with you. Naruto sighed softly. Suzune's personality made him feel comfortable and precious. But the fate between them is too shallow, no matter whether he remembers it or not, their fate cannot continue anymore, he already has another soul in his body, he is Naruto, not Asura. They are destined to be people on two parallel lines, and there will be no intersection. Has Naruto woke up now? In Hokage's office, Minato breathed a sigh of relief when he heard the report from the hospital. Minato has been worrying about Naruto for the past few days. Not only was he worried that Orochimaru would be bad for Naruto, but he was even more anxious when he heard that Naruto fainted after meeting a relative girl of Daimyo. Now the Daimyo has sent someone to talk to him, asking Minato to send Horikita Suzune back to the Fire Country Daimyo mansion immediately, or continue to exert political pressure, making Minato, Hokage, feel in a dilemma and at a loss. After Kakashi and Obito heard Minato's crying, Obito was also very interested in this new girl named Horikita Suzune, so he planned to talk to Naruto. In Konoha Hospital, Naruto was lying on the hospital bed, thinking about Asura's memory in a daze, when Obito suddenly came to him from the Kamui space. After seeing Obito, Naruto seemed to have found someone to confide in, and his eyes regained their brilliance. "Brother Obito, you are here." "Okay." Obito nodded and said, "Naruto, tell me what happened between you and that little girl named Horikita Suzune." Naruto scratched his head in embarrassment, and said, "What, so everyone already knows, the thing is like this." Naruto told Obito the memories of the relationship between Asura and Suzune that he recalled, and Obito listened carefully all the time. He found that these memories were all things that he had never seen before watching Hokage in his previous life. It seems that this is also the butterfly effect that he traveled through. There was an indescribable shock in his heart. "Naruto, you are so lucky. You met such a good girl." Obito patted Naruto on the shoulder and said, "There are too many girls in this world. If you can have a girl with a good personality and appearance, it is your luck." Naruto smiled wryly, and said, "Don't mention it, I used to like Sakura, but later I found out that Hinata had a crush on me, and with the matchmaking between my father and Patriarch Hinata and I have established a relationship, and now there is another Horikita Suzune, I really don't know what to do." "I can't help you either." I only know that you like a good girl not by words, but by actions. If she likes you, then you can accept her. On the contrary, if you don't like it, then don't force it. There are many people who care about you. Polygamy is not allowed in the ninja world. If you really can't let go, you can share your love with them. Obito laughed and said that he himself has provoked Lin, Xiaonan, Haitu, and 3 women. Then what should I do? Am I really going to be a scumbag? Naruto asked with a worried face. Brother Obito, if I really become a scumbag, will Hinata and Suzune still accept me? Also Suzune likes Asura. I'm just the reincarnation of Asura, not the real Asura. Naruto was lost in thought. Obito looked at Naruto, and said, let's talk about these things later. In short, don't be influenced by this matter for the time being, you should practice hard first. Yes, Brother Obito. Naruto nodded. Asura, open the door, this is Suzune. Naruto was eating Obito's rice. Suddenly Suzune opened the door and came in and stood in front of him. Obito looked up curiously, looked at the girl, and found that the girl's appearance was so beautiful, especially the temperament she exuded. Asura, the bell yelled again. Naruto hurriedly picked up a biscuit from the table, stuffed it into his mouth and swallowed it, and then said awkwardly, Lingyan, you are here. Suzune nodded. Then he sat down on the chair and folded his arms across his chest. Ringtone, I was sleeping just now. Naruto said. Sleep? Didn't you say that your body is not feeling well? Suzune asked. Naruto shook his head quickly, and said, No, I mean, I just woke up, I just happened to be hungry, and I want to eat something. Lingyan nodded and did not continue to ask. Suzune, did you come to see me for something? Well, there is something I want to discuss with you about our engagement. While talking, Lingyan looked at Naruto affectionately, and found that Naruto's face instantly became extremely awkward. Lingyan frowned slightly, and said, What's the matter? Don't you want to? Or, do you have someone you like? As Suzune spoke, her eyes dimmed. No, Naruto quickly explained. Of course I am willing, but the 2 of us got engaged too hastily, it's not good. Lingyan smiled slightly and said, It doesn't matter. Anyway, I have already talked with your father. He said that he hopes you get married early so that he can have a grandson. Besides, you are the son of Hokage and I am a relative of Daimyo. Our marriage is a political marriage and it is what all forces want to see. Ah, Naruto was embarrassed, and Obito didn't expect Minato to be so dishonest, coughed twice, and said, You 2 talk, I'll go out first. After Obito left Konoha Hospital, the insecurity in his heart became more and more intense. There are too many unknown factors in the ninja world now, and he doesn't know what the future direction of the ninja world will be. Boom! At this moment, a violent explosion sounded. No, the Hokage building is on fire. Then a group of Konoha civilians in embarrassing clothes ran desperately on the streets with soil, with terrified expressions on their faces. Obito looked up, and there was a raging fire in the direction of the Hokage building, and there seemed to be a figure standing in the sky above the Hokage building, staring at the Konoha below. No, there are enemies coming to attack Konoha. Obito hurriedly ran towards the Hokage building. Boom! At this moment, flames gushed out, and the huge shock wave instantly swallowed the entire Hokage building, and the civilians around Konoha were instantly reduced to ashes. Ah, who is it? Namikaze Minato came out of the ruins and shouted angrily. His figure flickered, and he came to the Hokage building in an instant, looking at the flaming Konoha, and glared at the sky above. Minato-sensei, are you okay? At this time, Kakashi's voice came, and he and a group of Anbu also arrived. Ah, I'm fine, Minato said lightly. Part of his Hokage robe seemed to be scorched, but overall he was fine. Those Anbu behind Namikaze Minato also escaped from the flames one after another. They are all well-known Anbi in the ninja world. Although they were attacked several times, they all escaped in the end. This is why Minato, Hokage, has such a stable position and is still the leader of Anbi. Hokage-sama, what should we do now? Kakashi asked Minato. Hokage snorted coldly. These people who attacked our Hokage are very powerful, we should not act rashly, we must first find the person who attacked our Hokage building, then catch him, and ask who did it. Yes, Kakashi nodded, and took the lead to walk towards the distance. The smoke cleared, and the figure attacking the Konoha Hokage building appeared in front of everyone. That guy should be from the Otsutsuki clan. When Obito saw the figure in the void, he couldn't help speeding up a bit. The figure was burly, with pale skin, a pair of reincarnation eyes, and 2 tentacles. He was wearing a strange costume, with a huge helmet on his head, and a samurai sword in his hand. It looked very strange. This guy should be the rumored Otsutsuki clan. However, are people from the Otsutsuki clan so ugly? Why does Kagaya Haim look beautiful, like Aikishiki and Momoshiki, and why does this guy look so different? Obito looked at the Otsutsuki clan in front of him and muttered. What he didn't know was that the words he just said had already been heard by Datong Muyonjurju, and although his voice was not too loud, Datong Muyonjurju's hearing could cover tens of miles. HMPH, you dare to insult me like this, boy, you are looking for death, is the difference between me and elder sister Wie so big? Datong Muyonjurju was short of breath. He lived beside Kagaya Haim since he was a child. Although his appearance is slightly inferior compared to Kagaya Haim, he is still considered handsome, and he thinks that he is on par with Kagaya Haim in appearance, so he doesn't understand Obito's evaluation of him. Obito Kamui came to Minato, Kakashi and others. Otsutsuki Genjurju looked at Obito, and said with interest, time and space ninjutsu. Interesting. Obito said angrily. Stop forcing lie here, what are you doing here at Konoha? Otsutsuki's pillar of flame smiled contemptuously, and said, naturally, I want to test my strength after my bloodline is fully awakened. The fragment of the jade seal of the land of fire I got was actually condensed from the blood essence left by the ancestors of the Otsutsuki clan in the ninja world. I have fused the blood of Otsutsuki's ancestors, and now I have become an invincible Otsutsuki. If you submit to me obediently now, I can consider letting you go, otherwise, you will become my dead souls. Obito dismissed it. HMPH, I think your brain was kicked by a donkey, right? With your current appearance, I think your strength should not be half of Kagaya-ji. Otsutsuki Genjurju said solemnly, who are you? Why do you know the Itsuki clan and Itsuki Kagaya? Which force are you a spy sent to Konoha? Hehe, Itsuki Genjurju, since you want to know, then I will let you understand. I not only know everything that happened after Itsuki Kagaya came to the ninja world, including her descendants Itsuki Yumura, Itsuki Hagoromo and Asura Indra, I can even guess a part or two of your plan. If my guess is right, Kuros must have met you, right? Itsuki said with a sneer. Of course, I have to say that your bloodline is too bad. Are you really from the Otsutsuki clan? It can't be. Hearing Itsuki's words, Otsutsuki Genjurju finally couldn't help it, and shouted at Obito, shut up. He is different from Kagaya Haim. Kagaya is the pure blood of the Otsutsuki clan, while he is the offspring born of an ordinary woman whose father was drunk. His Otsutsuki bloodline is far less pure than Kagaya. Moreover, his father became so tyrannical because he absorbed a strong evil blood, while the Otsutsuki clan absorbed pure orthodox blood. He is different from the Otsutsuki clan. The evil aura contained in his blood has been absorbed by him in 7s and 80s, leaving only the most core part that has not been absorbed, and all other parts have been sucked away by him. Originally, his strength barely reached the shadow level, but now that he fused with the blood of Otsutsuki's ancestors, he barely reached the 6 levels. But, even so, he is confident that he will kill Obito and the group of people in front of him. Go to hell. Datong Muyonju laughed ferociously, and a black light wheel appeared in his hand. Yin Dun Wheel of Hell. The Otsutsuki flame pillar waved the black wheel in his hand, and the black light immediately enveloped Obito and the others. The speed of the Wheel of Hell is very fast, and the range of the Wheel of Hell is very wide. In an instant, the Wheel of Hell enveloped Obito and the others. Trapping them in it, the power of the black hell wheel was crazily devouring the chakra in Obito's body, and at the same time, the Itsuki pillar of fire continuously released bursts of black storms. Kakashi on the side looked at the situation in front of him, his face became extremely ugly. 8-foot Chonguyu. Obito was not ambiguous, and directly turned on the Susanoo form, and threw the 8-foot Chongo towards the surrounding black wheel, and the 8-foot Chongo directly shot at the large pillar of wood flames. The black wheel and the 8-foot Chongo collided, and exploded with a bang. Obito's figure flashed, and he left the central area of the explosion directly, standing several hundred meters away from the center of the explosion. This guy's attack power is really terrifying. If I hadn't used the 8-foot Chonguyu, I might not be able to resist it. Obito frowned tightly, and looked solemnly at the Datongmuyan pillar not far away. Flying Thunder God. Minato threw a kunai with the imprint of the Flying Thunder God towards the Otsutsuki Yan pillar, and the kunai turned into an afterimage and flew towards the Otsutsuki Yan pillar. Datong Muyanjurju snorted coldly, raised his arm, and the black wheel of rotation appeared in his hand again, and a layer of black mist emerged from the palm of Datong Muyanjurju, wrapping the flying kunai in it. Second stage. Minato activated the imprint of Flying Thunder God Ku Wushang, and an afterimage came in front of the Datong Muyan pillar. Then, under the latter's astonished gaze, he rolled out a big jade spiral pill and hit it towards the Datong Muyan pillar. Bang! The rotating wheel in Datong Muyanjurju's hand twisted for a while, resisting the attack of Dayu Helixwan and smashed it. However, when Datong Muyanjurju was about to make another move, he suddenly found that his movements were a little slow. This is. A black crow flew by, and Uchiha Itachi's figure appeared behind the Otsutsuki flame pillar. Datong Muyanjurju was about to say something. Let's take a good look at yourself first, Uchiha Itachi said indifferently. Then Datong Muyanjurju found that his movements were getting slower and slower, and even started to go backwards in time. How is this going? How can it be? Datong Muyanjurju was extremely puzzled. Not good. The pupils of Datong Muyanjurju suddenly dilated, and he suddenly remembered something, and an ominous premonition rose from his heart. Stupid people, immerse yourself in Izanami's environment, Itachi said coldly. Obito was overjoyed when he saw Itachi's illusion work on the Otsutsuki pillar of flame. It has to be Uchiha Itachi. At this moment, the Datong Muyan pillar had really entered the environment in his mind, and he found that his head was in chaos. A trace of fear rose in Datong Muyanjurju's heart, and he immediately used ninjutsu to escape. However, he found sadly that when he used ninjutsu, his chakra was involuntarily drawn out. At this moment, memories of the past are constantly reappearing in his mind. When he opened his eyes again, he found that he had turned into an immature child, exactly what he looked like when he was a child. Pillar of Flame, why did you come here alone? My father will be angry again when he sees it. A gentle female voice sounded. Yanjurju looked up, and a beautiful girl from the Datongmu clan ran towards him. Elder sister, Otsutsuki Yanjurju murmured. This person is his elder sister whom he misses day and night, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Wei Yi ran in front of the flame pillar, grabbed his ear, and was about to pull him home. Sister, don't go home, come with me. Pillar of Flame suddenly grabbed Wei Yi with his backhand, and said seriously. What? Wei Yi was stunned for a moment by Yanjurju's words, and then she showed a happy expression. For some reason, she felt that Yanjurju really cared about her sister. What are you doing? At this moment, a roar of anger resounded through the sky, and the ground under the feet of the Datong wooden flame pillar suddenly split open, and the Datong wooden flame pillar was dragged into the crack and disappeared without a trace. Do not. Kagaya was taken aback, and hurriedly reached out to grab the pillar of flame, but it's too late. Kagaya's face instantly turned pale, her face was a little pale, and she looked very weak. She knelt down on the ground and begged bitterly, Father, please let the pillar of flame go. Kagaya's voice was full of pain. Otsutsuki Yanjurju's father, that is, Itsuki Enichiro's face was a little ugly, but he still agreed to Kagaya's request and let Yanjurju go. Pillar of Flame, what were you doing just now? Otsutsuki Ichiro said while looking at the pillar of flame kneeling in front of him. After Yanjurju heard Itsuki Ichiro's question, he lowered his head, not daring to look into Itsuki Ichiro's eyes, and said, I don't want to see you again. The words of Pillar of Flame made Otsutsuki Ichiro's face even more gloomy. Say it again. Hearing the angry tone of his most feared father, Zuyan mustered his courage and said calmly, I said, I don't want to see you again, you beast, you are not worthy to be my father. Otsutsuki Ichiro was furious at the words of the Pillar of Flame, and he stretched out his hands to grab the neck of the Pillar of Flame. Fool, how dare you say that this old man is not worthy to be your father? Enichiro Itsuki roared angrily. Cough 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 father, will you be sad too? Pillar of Flame just sneered, his eyes full of contempt and irony. Shut up, old man. Otsutsuki Ichiro roared angrily, then waved his sleeves, and a chakra blasted towards the Pillar of Flame. Although Itsuki Ichiro is not a qualified father, he himself feels that he has done his best to Yanjirju. In his eyes, Yanjirju is just a fool without pure Otsuki blood, so he often uses violence against him, which also caused Yanjirju to hate Otsutsu Enichiro since he was a child. However, Otsutsuki Enichiro's behavior today made Yanjirju feel very disappointed. Yanjirju looked at the roaring chakra, with a slight mocking color on his face. "I won't hide," Pillar of Flame said coldly. Boom! With a loud noise, chakra slammed into Pillar of Flame's chest fiercely. Puff! A mouthful of bright red blood spurted out from the mouth of the Pillar of Flame, but his body still stood straight. After seeing the resistance of the Pillar of Flame, Otsutsuki Enichiro's face suddenly became extremely ugly, and he roared angrily, "Fool, who do you think you are? You are just a tool of mine." After Otsutsuki Ichiro's words fell, Yanjirju's body shook violently a few times, with an unwilling expression on his face, but immediately he returned to his original appearance. He sneered, looked at Otsutsuki Ichiro coldly and said, "You fool, no matter how much you deny me, I will not deny my mother and sister's love for me, but you are a fool who is not as good as a beast. Looking for death." Itsuki Ichiro's face instantly turned livid. He stretched out his right hand and punched the Pillar of Flame. This punch contained the will of the huge chakra and Enichiro Otsutsuki. Once hit, even the Pillar of Flame would surely die. There was no fear on Yanjirju's face. He looked at Enichiro Otsutsuki with a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth. Bang! Just when the distance between the two was only about 3 inches, a golden light shone, and the space between them seemed to freeze. Otsutsuki Enichiro's fist stopped, and then with a golden luster, he pounded heavily on the chest of Yanjirju. The body of Yanjirju flew out directly, smashing a towering ancient tree beside him, before falling to the grass. PFF'd. The Pillar of Flame fell heavily on the lawn, and he felt severe pain all over his body. His face became even paler, and there was still a trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. At this time, Enichiro Otsutsuki came over with a gloomy face, looked at the horrified Pillar of Flame, but he didn't have the slightest kindness in his heart. A chakra beam flashed, and directly penetrated the head of the Pillar of Flame. "Flame! Pillar of Flame!" Kagaya screamed, and she threw herself next to the corpse of Pillar of Flame, crying. Pillar of Flame's body twitched a few times on the ground, but he couldn't move anymore. Kagaya raised his head, looked at Otsutsuki Ichiro and said, "The Pillar of Flame is dead. Father, you killed your own son." Quote. After Wei Yi finished speaking, he picked up the body of Pillar of Flame and ran towards the distance. Her back looks so sad and lonely. Otsutsuki Enichiro's face became darker and darker, his fingers clenched into fists, his face was ferocious and terrifying. "This is..." Pillar of Flame regained consciousness again. He opened his eyes, recalled what happened just now, and analyzed what was going on. "So that's how it is. The illusion of this caster allows me to see the deepest and most feared things in my heart." Seeing his consciousness gradually entering the illusion again, Zuyan bit his finger and dripped a few drops of blood. "Ah!" The Pillar of Flame looked up to the sky and let out a long roar. "Ah!" Pillar of Flame opened his mouth and bit his own arm. Immediately, a gust of blood gushed out, staining the white clothes of Pillar of Flame red. "I, the Pillar of Flame, will never give in. Never immerse yourself in illusions." Uchiha Itachi saw that the Pillar of Flame was not trapped by Izanami's illusion for a few seconds, and he began to recover gradually. He couldn't help but turn pale with shock. Would you think that he can break such a powerful illusion as Izanami? Unexpectedly, Izanami even broke the illusion of the Pillar of Flame. Uchiha Itachi's eyes turned cold. "No, I absolutely cannot bring this guy back," Uchiha Itachi said secretly. Uchiha Itachi's eyes flashed with a flash of determination. He quickly took out a jade pendant from his arms, and stuffed the jade pendant into the hands of the Pillar of Flame. There was a word, "Wan," engraved on the jade pendant. When Uchiha Itachi recited the mantra, the jade pendant emitted a light blue light, covering the Pillar of Flame. Itachi Uchiha slapped the jade pendant with his palm, and a powerful chakra poured into the jade pendant, making the blue light from the jade pendant even more dazzling. The voice of Uchiha Itachi chanting the mantra became faster and faster, and as the voice of the mantra became louder, dense sweat appeared on Uchiha Itachi's forehead. "Brother, what kind of ninjutsu are you doing?" Uchiha Sasuke asked in surprise. Uchiha Itachi barely distracted and replied, this is the ring spirit jade pendant I got from the monk on the land of the Konoha Fire Temple. It can suppress the other party's soul and is beneficial to my Izanami illusion. Uchiha Sasuke, who was on the side, had a look of surprise on his face after listening. He knew that the ring spirit jade pendant was not an extraordinary thing, something that could suppress the soul, which was also very rare for Uchiha Itachi. The role of the ring spirit jade pendant is to help Itachi Uchiha suppress the soul of the pillar of flame, but can the soul of the pillar of flame really be suppressed by this jade pendant? Uchiha Sasuke was full of doubts in his heart. After all, the other party was a pillar of flame with the same Otsutsuki bloodline as Sage of Six Paths. Itachi Uchiha gritted his teeth and continued to recite the spell silently. The blue light emitted by the jade pendant became more and more intense, wrapping the pillar of flame in it. Gradually, the blue light gradually weakened, and finally disappeared completely. Okay, Uchiha Itachi heaved a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on his face, but soon, the smile on his face froze on his face. This is... Uchiha Sasuke stared blankly at the jade pendant in his hand, feeling dazed for a while. The ring spirit jade pendant actually shattered. The moment the ring spirit jade pendant shattered, a powerful force erupted from the body of the pillar of flame, instantly trembling the entire space. Uchiha Itachi and Kagaya were also blown away by this powerful momentum. They fell to the ground fiercely, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Pillar of Flame opened his eyes of reincarnation, and said indifferently, "You don't think your illusion can really trap me, do you? Don't be wishful thinking, this kind of low-level illusion can't trap me at all." Quote. Hearing the words of the Pillar of Flame, Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke showed a look of horror on their faces. They did not expect that Izanami would not have any effect on this Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame. Reiki Turbulence. Kakashi slashed at the Pillar of Flame instantly with the lightning chakra attached to his palms. Boom! Lightning escape chakra instantly submerged the Pillar of Flame, and the surrounding area of the Pillar of Flame was instantly covered by violent electric current, and the whole ground trembled. Ah! The Pillar of Flame raised his head to the sky and screamed. A huge impact instantly overturned the ground under his feet split open, countless earth and rocks collapsed, and the Pillar of Flame turned into a cloud of smoke. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated, and the clothes of the Pillar of Flame were shattered, but the body was unscathed. Pillar of Flame looked at Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke in the distance, with a cruel smile on his face. No matter who dares to hurt me, I will definitely take revenge. What a perverted defense. Kakashi was also shocked. Spiral Flash Super Wheel Dance Roar 3 style. Minato threw a flash bomb, and then Fei Lation quickly attacked the Pillar of Flame, and at the same time twisted a spiral pill in his hand, and threw it at the Pillar of Flame. Pillar of Flame looked at Minato, and swung out a palm suddenly, breaking Minato's three-way chakra cut in an instant. The Pillar of Flame punched the water gate. Minato quickly dodged and dodged. The chakra on Pillar of Flame's body emerged and instantly turned into a ball, which quickly became bigger. Then it hit the water door violently. Bang! The water gate was knocked out and flew out. After landing, he slid 7 or 8 meters on the ground, and then stopped after a roll. The water gate wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his face was a little ugly. Nine Tails Mode. The yellow chakra of Kyuubi appeared on Minato's body, and he has used the power of Yin Kyuubi in his body, and his speed and strength have been greatly improved. Tailed Beast Jade. A phantom of 9 tails appeared behind Minato, and black round particles appeared towards the mouth of the Pillar of Flame, which gradually condensed into a terrifying tailed beast jade. Minato pinched the mark of the Flying Thunder God in his hand, and a black-tailed beast jade rushed towards the Pillar of Fire. When the tailed beast jade approached the Pillar of Flame, it suddenly disappeared, and a huge tailed beast jade appeared out of thin air in front of the Pillar of Flame. Bang! The tailed beast jade exploded in front of the flame pillar, bursting out with ear-piercing screams. The flame pillar also suffered a little trauma from the destruction of the tailed beast jade. The flame pillar's figure shook a few times, and there was a bloody hole on his right shoulder. Yanjirju looked at the blood hole on his shoulder, frowned, and then he swung his right hand violently, and shot a black spear at the water gate in an instant. Whoosh! Minato's body leapt forward for a certain distance, and the black spear tip penetrated from the place where Minato had just stood, more than a foot deep into the ground, and there was a dignified look on Minato's face. If it wasn't for his timely reaction, the shot just now would have killed him. Be careful, this guy is very strong. Obito, a Kamui, came to Minato and said solemnly. Wooden, cutting technique. Obito unleashed the technique of wood escape and cuttings on the pillar of flame. Be careful, this guy is very strong. Obito, a Kamui, came to Minato and said solemnly. Wooden, cutting technique. Obito unleashed the technique of wood escape and cuttings on the pillar of the large cylinder of wood flames. In an instant, countless branch cuttings shot towards the pillar of the big tube of wood flame. HMPH. The Otsutsuki pillar of flame sneered, and a wave of fire swept over, burning those branches to ashes in an instant, and then a huge force rolled towards Obito. Obito hurriedly used blur to escape the blow. Yang escape, the sun shines everywhere. Datong Muyanjurju used Yang escape ninjutsu, a golden ball of fire appeared in his hand, and then crashed to the ground. Boom! There was a deafening explosion, and the whole city trembled. Obito hurriedly flew tens of meters away before stopping. He looked ahead with a look of horror on his face. The attack just now made him feel his own insignificance and humbleness. If he had been hit by that attack just now, he would have been blown to pieces, right? Obito took a deep breath, and his eyes fell on Otsutsuki Yenju, with a serious expression on his face. The blow just now made him feel a huge crisis. I don't know if my strength can compete with it. Obito murmured. I want to see how much strength you have. How dare you challenge my dignity? Datongmu Yenju said with cold eyes. Pillar of flame, die to me. Obito suddenly yelled violently. The chakra in his body was running wildly, and then Shinwei activated the space distortion, and flames spewed out from his mouth. Fire escaped Bangfengranwu. The flame vortex rushed towards the pillar of flame. Seeing this, the pillar of flame showed a sneer of disdain. A mere fire escape wants to hurt me. Boom! The flame vortex and the pillar of flame collided together, and a violent explosion erupted immediately. PFF'd. Datong Muyan pillar was hit by Baofeng Luanwu, and it directly passed through the flames with the shield formed by the Taoist jade, but the power of Baofeng Luanwu was amazing, and directly knocked Datong Muyan pillar to the ground. The big pillar of wood flame fell to the ground, and blood spit out from the mouth immediately. Obito ignored the Otsutsuki flame pillar, took out the Uchiha fan, and then sprayed out flames and fanned it. Fire escape hurricane fireworks. The vortex of flames and the hurricane fireworks cancelled each other out. Obito's body flashed, and he came to the side of the pillar of flames, stretched out his hand and held it in his hand. Seeing Obito's move, Yanjurju immediately struggled to break free. Come into my Kamui space. As Obito's voice fell, Otsutsuki Yanjurju's body was sucked into the Kamui space. Space strangles. Obito made mudras with both hands, and then swung the shuriken. A white light shot out from the shuriken, instantly piercing through the chest of Datong Muyan pillar. There was an unbelievable look in Yanjurju's eyes. He never expected that the other party would be so cunning and take the opportunity to sneak attack. But soon, Pillar of Flame regained his composure. HMPH, boy, although I suffered a bit, you also know my strength, you can't defeat me. Datong Muyanjurju said indifferently. Really? Obito smiled faintly, and then threw the Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame on the ground. Bang! The Datong Muyan pillar fell heavily to the ground. How is it? Obito stepped forward and squatted in front of Otsutsuki Yanjurju. Who the hell are you? Datong Muyanjurju asked coldly. Who am I? Don't worry about it. Obito said lightly. It's ridiculous, compared to me in time and space ninjutsu, you are too tender. Datong Muyanjurju stood up with a sneer, and the wound on his body healed quickly. Together kill the bright bone. The Pillar of Flame shot the common kill bright bone towards Obito. At the same time, he clenched his right hand into a fist and slammed it hard at Obito. Ha ha! Obito smiled contemptuously, and then his figure dodged to avoid the attack of the Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame. What's going on? Datong Muyanjurju showed a puzzled expression when he saw that his attack had missed the opponent. Let me tell you, I have divine power, I can distort space, I can also blur, and I have an immortal body, so your attacks can't hit me at all, and any of your attacks can't pose a threat to me. Obito explained lightly, and then pointed out, you lost, admit defeat. Datong Muyanjurju looked at Obito, his eyes were full of unwillingness, but he tore a space crack casually, and went out from Obito's divine power space. When Minato, Kakashi and the others outside saw the Pillar of Otsutsuki Flame coming out again, they couldn't help rushing up and all attacked him. Ha ha, Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame laughed out loud, and knocked Kakashi and Minato back with one move. Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame waved his hand, a thick flame erupted from his body, and then rushed towards Kakashi and Minato. The weapon in his hand emitted a dazzling blue flame. Not good. Minato's expression changed, and he ran away in a hurry. But the Pillar of Datong Muyin chased after him, and the weapon in his hand turned into a fiery red blade and slashed towards Minato. Teacher Minato. Obito's face darkened, and then he quickly came to Minato, stretched out his hand to block the fire knife, and pushed the Minato open at the same time, letting him leave the place. HMPH, it's easy for me to kill you. Datong Muyonjurju said coldly. Hehe, so what, we haven't lost yet, Kakashi said with a sneer. Then you can try it. Datong Muyenju said disdainfully. In this case, we have to fight to the death. Kakashi roared. 6 clones appeared behind him, and then each held a shuriken and flew towards the Pillar of Otsutsuki Flame. Each of the 6 shadow clones used a ninjutsu of escapism. Water escape Water Dragon Ball technique. Fire escape Fire Dragon's Wrath. The 6 clones shot together, and immediately formed a flame dragon, a fireball, a water dragon, a flame vortex, 2 water columns, and 2 ice cones. The 5 kinds of ninjutsu blasted towards the Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame together. HMPH. Datong Muyin Pillar snorted coldly with disdain. His figure suddenly rose, and the samurai sword in his hand slashed towards the water dragon. Boom! An extremely powerful saber energy spread towards the surroundings, and the ground suddenly shattered, all the surrounding buildings were razed to the ground, and countless trees were turned into ashes. What? The screams sounded from the surroundings, and everyone was swept away by the saber energy, and fell to the ground with serious injuries, blood staining the surroundings. Obito, Minato and others were even more shocked and flew out. Puff! A trace of blood flowed from the corner of Otsutsuki Yenjurju's mouth, and he looked at Obito and the others with cold eyes. Guy, dare to destroy Muya village. Uzumaki Naruto also ran over with Horikita Suzune. Naruto looked at the Otsutsuki Flame Pillar in front of him with an angry face, and immediately turned on the Nine Tails mode. Multiple shadow clones. After Naruto entered the Nine Tails mode, hundreds of shadow clones were separated, and he twisted a spiral pill in his hand and hit it towards the Pillar of Wood Flame. Shenluo Tianzhong. Datong Muyonjurju raised his hand, and a surging air wave hit Naruto's shadow clone in all directions with him as the center. Bang! 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 Hundreds of Daoying's clones were all smashed to pieces, while the great tube of wood flame pillar was still standing there, motionless. At this time, a powerful force descended from the sky to the pillar of the big tube wood flame, and after a muffled sound, the pillar of the big tube wood flame was knocked down to the ground. Ha 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 ha, Naruto's body just got into the ground, and was attacked by the Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame from the ground. After a burst of wild laughter, a spiral pill directly penetrated the chest of the Datong Muyin Pillar, blowing it into pieces. The Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame died, and Uzumaki Naruto himself was also swept up. Just when Naruto Uzumaki was about to fall, a hand grabbed him. You don't think I will be defeated by you so easily, kid. The shattered body fragments of Otsutsuki Pillar of Flame closed again, and a black chakra stick appeared in his hand to stab Naruto. Boy, get out of the way. Just when Uzumaki Naruto was about to be hit, a golden long sword fell from the sky and pierced the body of Otsutsuki Yenju. With a sound of bang, the body of Datong Muyonjurju turned into powder and disappeared into the air. HMPH, do you still want to kill Naruto? At this moment, a figure appeared out of thin air beside the pillar of Datong Muyin. It was Raikage. Raikage was holding the black chakra stick in his hand, staring indifferently at the large wooden pillar of flame in front of him. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Raikage in surprise. He didn't expect that the person who saved him and Suzune at the most critical moment was the fourth Raikage Eye. Datong Muyonjurju was also surprised by Raikage's strength. Although Uzumaki Naruto is Nine Tails Jinchuriki, his strength is far inferior to Eye. Eye, it's you. Minato Namikaze stared at Raikage in horror. Yeah, Lei Ying nodded slightly. That's right, it's me. Namikaze Minato looked at Raikage. He was very puzzled. Why is Raikage Eye not in Lei Yin village? Namikaze Minato hadn't finished speaking when he was suddenly interrupted by a voice. Minato, don't worry, you guys get out of here first. This voice spread throughout the valley, and everyone could hear it clearly. This is the first Hokage Senshubashirama of Muya village. Everyone looked up at the sky, and the figures of Chinshujujian and Chinshufajian appeared in midair. Master First Generation, I've seen Mr. Tokama. Senjujuma and Senjubajian are still in the state of reincarnation, and they have not used chakra. Either way, they're a perfect filth reincarnated. Lei Ying's pupils shrank suddenly, and a sense of danger emerged spontaneously. Boy, leave it to me. Thousand Hands said to Lei Ying. Reikage took a deep breath and nodded. He was just a junior in front of the second Hokage Senju Tamanama. Wood Done Wood Dragon Technique. Both hands formed a seal between the Thousand Hands pillar, and a huge wooden dragon appeared behind him, and swallowed the big wooden pillar of flame with a big mouth. Afterwards, there was also a flying thunder god in Chinshofajian quickly attacking the pillar of Datong Muyan. The speed of Chinshobajian is very fast, and after the reincarnation of the dirty soil, there is no need to worry about chakra consumption. His offensive is fast and accurate, making it impossible for the big tube of wood flame pillar to dodge. Boom! Chinshofajian slapped the chest of Datong Muyanjerju, but it did not cause any injuries. Yenjerju used the shield formed by Chudao Jade to forcibly carry the wooden dragon technique of Chinshujujian. Flying Thunder God Slash. Chinshofajian quickly used Flying Thunder God to slash the Otsutsuki pillar of flame. The pillar of wood flame was repelled, and many fine cracks appeared on its body, which might shatter at any time. Senju Banma and Senjujuma used ninjutsu at the same time, which made him suffer a lot. Chinshofajian also took the opportunity to give full play to the advantages of Flying Thunder God. He directly used ninjutsu, quickly joined the seal and connected a water escape and water dragon bullet technique, and shot towards the pillar of flame. Boom! The water dragon bomb technique hit the pillar of flame, and it exploded immediately, and a violent shock wave swept across the surroundings instantly. Ah, ah, cough cough cough, cough cough. There was a series of coughing sounds. Datong Muyanjerju coughed a few times and spit out a mouthful of blood. His face became paler and paler. Seeing this, Chinshujujian directly entered the perfect immortal mode. A fairy law Mayayanman summoned several huge Mayayanmen to suppress the Otsutsuki Yenju. The power of the thunder and lightning this time is relatively weak, but it is enough to make it difficult for the Datong Muyan pillar to support it. As expected of the second generation of Mizukage, oh no Hokage. Obito secretly admired. Senju Tomona invented countless forbidden techniques in his life, but for some reason he only likes to escape with water. Water Escape Water Dragon Art. A huge blue water dragon appeared behind the Datongmuyan pillar. It roared and hit the Datongmuyan pillar again. Not to be outdone, Kakashi launched Reikiri directly, and the thunderbolt and water dragon collided, and the water dragon was shattered into countless drops of water that sprinkled in all directions, and Kakashi's Reikiri was also blocked by the Otsuki flame pillar. Naruto, I will take care of the Otsutsuki pillar of flame, you can go with Suzune. Naruto said, looking at Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto nodded and was about to leave. At this time, the big tube of wood flame pillar roared, and forcibly broke away from the entanglement of several people, and the Taoist jade in his hand condensed into a black stick, and ruthlessly threw it towards Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto! Namikaze Minato screamed and wanted to stop it, but it was too late. The blow of Datong Muyan pillar was so powerful that even he didn't dare to resist it. Senshofajian and Senshujujian watched this scene, their eyes narrowed slightly, revealing a gloomy light. Puff! The sound of the black stick piercing through the flesh came, Naruto's pupils shrank, and he looked at the petite figure standing in front of him in disbelief. Ringtone, ringtone. After Lingyan blocked this fatal blow for Naruto, she vomited blood and collapsed directly into Naruto's arms. Ringtone. Looking at the dying Lingyan in his arms, Naruto let out an angry roar, his eyes were red, and a monstrous hatred radiated from his body, as if he was about to burn. Naruto, calm down. Ling Yinxiang cheered up, looked at Naruto gently with a pair of beautiful eyes and said, I never thought. I just met you in this life and I will say goodbye to you soon. Ringtone, why? Why did this happen? Naruto said through gritted teeth, his fists clenched tightly, his nails digging into his skin, bleeding out. I love you. Lingyan said, I know that you have never been able to accept me in your heart, but just like the oath I made to Ashura back then, I am willing to be your eternal wife and accompany you forever. No matter how many times I reincarnate, I will definitely find you. Lingyan said this oath word by word, and she didn't want to regret it before she died. Hearing Suzun's oath, Naruto's heart trembled. Ringtone. Don't cry. Lingyan stretched out her white and slender arms, wiped away the tears on Naruto's cheeks, and said with a smile, "Don't worry about me, you have to live well, remember, you must live. See you in the next life." After the voice fell, Lingyan slowly closed her eyes. No. Looking at the bell who was lying on the ground and had stopped breathing, Naruto groaned and knelt down on the ground. 2 crystal clear tears flowed from his eye sockets, dripping down his face. "Didn't you, Lingyan, promise me not to leave me? I beg you not to leave me." Naruto wailed in pain, tears streaming from the corners of his eyes. Ringtone. I beg you, don't abandon me, don't. Datong Muyonjurju looked at this scene with a look of envy in his eyes. He couldn't help but think of his sister Kagaya Otsutsuki. Otsutsuki Kagaya is his only relative, and also his only concern in the ninja world. See, this is this cruel world, you can't change anything at all. The pillar of Otsutsuki Flame said to Naruto indifferently. I chose to stay in this cruel world, so I have to take on this responsibility, say what I have to say, and do what I say. This is my way of tolerance. My life was saved by Suzun, I must live on. I will definitely kill you. Naruto's tone was so firm that Otsutsuki Yenjurju was slightly taken aback. Obito felt that this scene was too familiar. Isn't this the part in the original book where he killed Neji and then tried to escape Naruto's mouth? Unfortunately, Naruto's Byationzui can't be defeated by anyone. Wooden, the tree world is coming. Shinsho Zujian was also completely enraged by the pillar of wood flame in the big tube, and directly used Mudun's tree world to descend. Datong Muyonjurju looked at the Chinshujujian who suddenly descended in front of him, his expression frightened. The arrival of the tree realm is one of the strongest wood escapes in the Chinshujujian. It can forcibly summon a large forest and even change the terrain. Immortal Art True Thousand Hands. The immortal technique was cast directly between the Thousand Hands pillar. Endless Buddha lights emerged from the palms, and a huge Buddha appeared behind him, and the hands of countless Buddha lights shrouded the Datong Muyan pillar. A trace of solemnity flashed in Datong Muyonjurju's eyes, and Tao-seeking jade appeared on his body. The flame pillar turned the Taoist jade into a huge sharp sword, smashed the trees with 1 foot, directly smashed a large number of trees, and stepped forward, looking solemnly at the countless big hands of Buddha's light that were hitting towards him. The pillar of big tube wood flame directly placed his arm on his chest, and then an invisible wave of energy radiated out, instantly smashing these Buddhas into pieces. Seeing this, Chinshujujian's eyes froze, and he hurriedly urged more trees to fight towards the Datong Muyenju. Wood escaped kingdom of trees. Countless wooden leaves fluttered, covering the sky and the sun, and each tree was directly inserted in front of the large pillar of wood flame, as if to drown it. At this time, Senju Banma, Namikaze Minato, and Naruto also arrived at the same time. Both hands formed a seal between the Thousand Hands pillar, and a huge golden halo directly wrapped the pillar of wood flame, which immediately disappeared. Namikaze Minato and Naruto rushed directly to the position where Otsutsuki Yan's pillar was. No, he wants to run away. Senju Bashima's expression changed. Seeing this, Datong Muyonjurju gave a cold snort, kicked a big tree off with his right leg, jumped out and disappeared in place. A large number of trees fell from the position where the Datong Muyan pillar stood just now, and a deep pit appeared on the ground. Namikaze Minato's face was gloomy, he knew that Otsutsuki's pillar of flame must have escaped. Chasing, we must never let him leave Konoha. Namikaze Minato gave a loud shout, leading Naruto and Senju Hashirama to chase after him. Sensho Zujian saw this and hurriedly followed. The 3 of them chased the figure of the great tube wood flame pillar while watching the surrounding terrain. They found that although Datong Muyan pillar hid in the tree, it did not leave Konoha. The figure of Datong Muyanju was shuttling through the woods at an extremely fast speed, making it difficult to capture. Namikaze Minato frowned. He didn't expect that the Otsutsuki pillar of flame would be able to escape. It's impossible to catch him if this goes on. Sensho Zujian also noticed this. His eyes were shining brightly, and then he swung his sleeve suddenly, and green vines emerged from the ground, sweeping towards the depths of the forest. Vine and tree country. The ground shook wildly, and a large number of vines drilled out from the ground, directly entangled the ground, and then bound the pillar of wood flame. Do you think you can tie me up with rattan? It's just a dream. Datong Muyanjerju snorted coldly, and with a flick of his palm, a black flame appeared in his palm, burning blazingly. Immediately, he opened his mouth suddenly, spit out a fireball and shot towards the ground, blasting a huge hole in the ground. Yin escape, the sky shines. With a wave of the Datong Muyan pillar, a huge black Amaterasu flame spewed out, directly spraying towards the ground. Boom! The ground exploded, and a huge pothole with a depth of 10 meters appeared. The fire grew stronger and stronger, and soon spread, covering the ground. Seeing this, Manaka's Minato and Senju Bashirama's expressions changed, and they quickly reinforced the forest. I want to see how you escape. Namikaze Minato and Senshujujian attacked from left to right towards Datong Muyenjerju. A flash of disdain flashed in the pupils of Datong Muyenjerju's eyes, he snorted coldly, and the flame in his hand exploded again, burning the earth even more severely. Boom! Chapter 91. The earth quaked, countless pieces of soil cracked open, and pieces of rock rose from the ground, protecting the Datong Muyan pillar. The earth is trembling, as if the crust will be broken in the next moment. On the ground, giant trees sprang out from the ground, suppressing the flames. At this time, the characteristics of Mutun were brought into play. Countless trees protruded from the ground, and vines drilled out from the ground, directly entwining the flames. On the ground, huge trees rose up from the ground, blocking the way of the pillar of flame. In the state of the coming of the tree world, the growth and death of all the trees are controlled by Sensho Hashirama, so Sensho Hashirama easily let the trees block the way for Datong Muyenjerju to escape. Otsutsuki Yenjerju looked gloomily at Senju Hashirama, Minato, and Naruto who were chasing after him. Senju Fumama and Obito arrived on the battlefield quickly with Flying Thunder God and Kamui. Zhu Jian was not polite at all, and used the immortal method Mu done again. Wa Buddha on the top. A huge statue of Avalokitesvara appeared behind Chinsho Zujian, and then countless huge Buddha's hands gathered together, forming a fierce offensive and smashing fiercely at the Datong Muyenju. However, at the last moment, there was another Buddha shadow on the head of the pillar of fire in the big tube wood, and then a huge Buddha came down from the giant Guanyin statue, and the same fierce bergamot slapped towards the pillar of flame. With a muffled bang, the pillar of flame was directly blasted through the tree wall and flew backwards. Who are you? Itsuki Yenjerju covered his injured right shoulder and looked at Sensho Hashima who suddenly appeared and Higama and others behind him, extremely surprised. What is the history of these two people? To be able to repel him so easily. You must know that you are from the Otsutsuki clan. I am Senju Bashirama, the first generation of Hokage. Senju Bashirama said in a deep voice. Chinshufin snorted coldly, but didn't say anything. Although he is the second Hokage, his strength cannot be compared with Hokage Senju Hashirama. As soon as Datong Muyenjerju heard what Chinsho Zujian said, he immediately realized that he might have kicked an iron plate this time. This familiar breath, could it be that you are also the reincarnation of Asura? Pillar of Flame asked in a deep voice. Hashirama tilted his head in some incomprehension, expressing that he did not understand what he was talking about. He had no choice but to put his inquiring gaze on Chinsho Fujian. Chinsho Fujian shook his head, he didn't quite understand either. However, Senjujuma still replied. My name is Senjujuma, I am not the reincarnation of Asura, you must have misunderstood the person. Pillar of Flame was taken aback when he heard the words. Impossible, both you and that Kyuubi boy have the aura of my sister Kagaya Otsutsuki on your body, you must all be the reincarnation of his grandson. Thousand Hands. Uzumaki Naruto. Chinsho Zujian said with a gloomy face. Then you are still from my grandpa's generation. Datong Muyenjerju. Haha, are you kidding me for being old? I am your ancestor, how could you treat your ancestor like this? Zhu Jian's face darkened, and he said dismissively, Ancestor, where is this? I'm from the Chinsho clan, what kind of shit are you from the Datongmu clan, won't your brain be broken by me? Yanjerju's face was gloomy, knowing that it was useless to continue arguing with Zhu Jian, so he waved the Taoist jade in his hand again, forming a pestle. Seeing this, Hashirama couldn't help frowning. Why isn't this guy doing anything? Datong Muyenjerju also realized that he had been delaying for a long time, so he gritted his teeth and prepared to use ninjutsu. At this moment, Chinsho, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly moved. He formed a seal with one hand, and a huge wave of water rushed towards the pillar of flame. Susanoo. The pillar of flame was forced to have no choice but to activate the Susanoo almost completely. Put your hands together and cast Susanoo to defend. And at the moment Susanoo just cast it, the water wave between the 1,000 hands had already reached the eyes of the pillar of flame, and then slammed on Susanoo's body fiercely. As the water wave passed, everyone saw the Susanoo of the pillar of flame, which was tens of meters tall, taller than Sasuke and Obito's Susanoo. The pillar of flame manipulated the giant Susanoo to hold the large wooden pestle in his hand, and hit Senju Bashima fiercely. Senju Hashirama did not show any weakness, and summoned the jujutsu of the wooden man to fight with the Otsutsuki pillar of flame. Boom! A huge explosion resounded through the sky, and the aftermath of the fierce battle between the two shook several nearby trees violently. The two fought fiercely for dozens of rounds. In the end, the flame pillar was defeated and was sent flying by Chinsho Zujian. The pillar of flame fell to the ground, spurting out a mouthful of blood. Seeing the opportunity, Chinsho Fujian immediately used the technique of water escape and water cage to tie him up. No, I won't lose. The pillar of wood flame struggled crazily, shattering the water escape water cage technique. Then, he cast fire escape firestorm again. Boom! There was another violent explosion. Susanoo from the Itsuki pillar of flame rushed up again, swung the Itsuki pillar and slammed the wooden man summoned by Hashirama fiercely. The Susanoo between the large wooden pillars was almost interrupted, but the wooden man summoned by the Senshujujian resumed again. Yanjurju stared at Sensho Zujian with cold eyes, and the veins on his arms were exposed. I'm going to kill you, kill you. The pillar of wood flame in the big tube roared again, and the Taoist jade in his hand pointed out. Suddenly, a ball of fire appeared in the sky, and then the fireball turned into a huge rocket and shot fiercely towards Chinshujujian. Water escape tornado wall. Chinsho Zujian snorted coldly, waved his hands, and a water wall formed by condensed blue water flow blocked in front of him. Boom! The fireball hit the water wall, making a loud noise, and the water wall scattered in all directions. Seeing that his water wall was broken, Chinsho Zujian unhurriedly summoned another water wall. Boom! This time, the water wall was stronger, and even the heat of the fireball was blocked. Together kill the bright bone. The pillar of flame crazily threw the common kill bone towards Chinshujujian. Attempt to tear apart the opponent's wooden dummy technique. However, Sensho Zujian seemed to have anticipated the opponent's move, and at the moment when Gongshawigu was about to reach him, his footsteps moved slightly. Boom! The fireball hit his right shoulder. Chinsho Zujian retreated again and again after being hit by the fireball. A puff of green smoke came out of his body, but his face remained unchanged, and he gave Yanjurju a wood dragon technique in return, causing him to vomit blood. The pillar of flame was wounded and extremely angry. Then, he cast his Susanoo again and rushed towards Senju Bashirama. Would escape immortal method really thousands of hands. Not to be outdone, Senjujuma summoned the Avalokitesvara again, and the attacks of Junshienju and Susanoo from the pillar of flame collided together. This time, the statue of Avalokitesvara finally couldn't hold it anymore. It was smashed to pieces by the attack of the pillar of flame, and then wiped out by Susanoo with a stick. Susanoo rushed towards the pillar of flame again, and when the pillar of flame saw this, he cast Susanoo again and punched Kionjuju with regret. The two separated again. There was blood on the corner of Chinsho Zujian's mouth, and he seemed to be in a bit of a mess after being beaten by Yanjurju. Pillar of Flame was overjoyed seeing this. His Susanoo can be said to have been modified by Otsutsuki's unique secret book, and can absorb any attribute of chakra for his own use. Moreover, this secret technique can also increase one's own chakra level. Therefore, he dared to be so arrogant, relying on his own ability to act recklessly. However, at this time, Chinsho Fujian once again cast water escape. Whoosh! The water dragon broke through the barrier of the water curtain and penetrated from the left side of the Thousand Hands column. Pillar of Flame saw this scene, his eyes widened. Water escape water dragon art. A giant water dragon about 10 meters long suddenly appeared behind Chinsho Fujian. The water dragon rushed towards Chinsho Zujian with its fangs and claws, and Chinshujujian's pupils shrank sharply. Boom! The water dragon collided with the Susanoo. Although the Susanoo was strong, it was hard to avoid being hit by the large size of the Susanoo. It flew backwards a long way before stopping. However, this time, the pillar of flame was not injured. Ha 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 ha. Pillar of flame laughed wildly. Thousands of hands, you paratrooper, even a water dragon can't do anything to my Susanoo. Chinsho Phaegian's face was livid, and he gritted his teeth and said, I admit that you are very strong, but don't be too proud. The body of water in Chinshobajian suddenly came behind the Otsutsuki Yenju, and then the flying thunder god mark disappeared on the body of water, and the main body of Chinshobajian came behind the Otsutsukian pillar. Water escape, hard vortex water wheel. What? Pillar of flame felt severe pain in his abdomen, looked down, and found a short knife stuck in his abdomen. The short knife pierced deeply into his abdominal cavity, and the blood flowed continuously. Pillar of flame screamed, and fell to the ground twitching. Flying thunder god slash. Chinsho was so unreasonable, he slashed down with a swipe of thunder god. Boom! A blinding flash of lightning illuminated the sky, then dimmed it again, and the dagger was gone. Just now, Datong Muyonjurju forcibly used the power of heaven to change the positions between him and Chinshufei, causing Chinshufei to cut through the air. Datong Muyonjurju's abdomen was still gushing blood. He held his wound, stood up reluctantly, and stared at Chinshobajian with resentment in his eyes. Chinshobajian's face was pale. He glanced at his palm, and found that his palm had been scorched. HMPH. Anyone who poses a threat to Konoha village, I will use these hands to eradicate them. Pillar of flame snorted coldly, raised his right arm, and white bone spurs formed in his hand. Yachi Orochi bone spur. The bone spur shot towards Chinshobajian. Chinshobajian quickly dodged when he saw this. However, the way Chinshobajian dodged was a bit strange. His figure seemed to move to the right involuntarily, which made Chinshobajian even more horrified. He knew that he must have been controlled by something just now, otherwise, he would never have done such a stupid thing. Chinshobajian's body kept moving to the right, and he tried to get rid of this weird state. Unfortunately, the harder he worked, the slower his body became. In the end, he couldn't even keep his balance. Plop! His body fell to the ground. And his body was emitting wisps of white mist, and it looked like it was rotting away. What exactly is going on? Chinshobajian felt the changes in his body, and he couldn't help being terrified. At this moment, the bone spur of the pillar of flame shot over, piercing through Chinshobajian's right shoulder, and then piercing through Chinshobajian's chest. What is this? Chinsho asked with difficulty. Before he could finish his question, he was kicked out by pillar of flame. Chinshobajian's body fell heavily to the ground. Although he is in the reincarnation state of the dirty soil, he cannot recover from being injured by the power of the six yin and yang, and will lose his combat effectiveness for a while. Seeing this, Chinshobajian hurriedly used a wooden escape explosive gun tree to trap the large pillar of wood flame, and then let the wooden man punch the pillar of wood flame. In an instant, sparks flew everywhere, and the pillar of flame was also pushed back. However, at the same time that the pillar of flame was pushed back, two black holes suddenly appeared in Chinshobajian's arm, and several huge vines drilled out of the hole, wrapped around the pillar of flame, and then pulled it forward forcefully. This pillar of flame was taken aback. Yachi Orochi venom spit. The pillar of flame shouted loudly. A jet of black and red liquid sprayed out from the mouth of the pillar of flame, and sprayed towards Chinshobajian, who hurriedly dodged. The pillar of flame retreated quickly. Spiral ball shuriken. Seeing this, Naruto threw a spiral pill shuriken at the large pillar of wood flame, and Minato shot a flying thunder god kunai. Seeing this, Datong Muyonjurju didn't hesitate, and used the Datong Mujui. Immediately, a layer of blue shield appeared around him, blocking the spiral pill shuriken. And he himself used ninjutsu, disappeared instantly, appeared behind Hashirama, and then slashed down with his palm. Hashirama hastily clenched his fists to resist. The two fought, and no one could do anything to the other. The strength of Chinshobajian is weaker than that of Yenjurju, but his strange power is very strong, and neither of them can gain the upper hand. At this moment, Minato, who had been staying by the side without making a move, suddenly launched an attack. The kunai blade in his hand pierced the air and reached behind the pillar of flame in an instant. Sensing the danger, the pillar of flame hurriedly used the teleportation technique, appeared on the other side of Minato, and then slapped Minato's stomach again. Boom! What the Otsutsuki pillar of flame shattered was Mizuman's shadow clone technique, and Nimizuman's body had already reached the top of his head, and he whipped out a nine-tailed spiral pill to hit him. The pupils of the pillar of flame constricted, and he hurriedly used his body to block it. Boom! The spiral pill exploded, and the pillar of flame was also sent flying, hitting the ground heavily, spitting out a mouthful of blood. I was beaten so embarrassingly by them. Datong Muyanjerju gritted his teeth and said. At this moment, Heiju's consciousness in his mind suddenly awakened, and he said, Master Pillar of Flame, you can let me take over your body, and I can quickly escape underground. Pillar of Flame was overjoyed when he heard it, but he didn't agree immediately. After all, he couldn't give up easily at this time. So he said, how can you help me? Heiju said, I will leave a drop of blood in your body as a contract. Once you die, I will be able to occupy your body and successfully seize it. Heiju's words made the originally excited expression turn gloomy. After seeing his expression, Heiju also understood that what he did was a little too much, but now there was no other way, the so-called exorbitant asking price to pay back the money. Heiju also wanted to take this opportunity to ask Yanjerju for more bargaining chips. In the end, Datong Muyanjerju gritted his teeth, and said to Highway ruthlessly, okay, I'll listen to you. Then Heiju's consciousness gradually took over the body of the Datong Muyan pillar, and after Heiju escaped into the ground, he disappeared. Namikaze Minato wanted to use Flying Raijin to try to catch up with Kuro's, but was stopped by Obito's hand. Obito shook his head and said, stop chasing him, it's useless. Highway should have taken over the body of Otsutsuki Yanjerju just now. It seems that the two of them really got together. We can't catch up with him. What shall we do now? After hearing Obito's words, Minato also knew that it was meaningless for him to chase blindly like this. Minato thought for a while, and then said to Obito, Obito, take Naruto and the others back first. Obito frowned and asked, what about you? Minato smiled and said, I also want to discuss something with the two Hokage-samas and Reikage from Cloud Hidden Village. Naruto and the others will trouble you to take care of them. Obito nodded upon hearing this. Then let's go first. Then Obito took Naruto and the others away. Naruto followed Obito all the way down the road, looked at Naruto, and Obito understood what was going on with him, so he said, Naruto, Suzune's body is just ahead, go and say goodbye to her. Naruto's eyes regained some light, he looked at the beautiful but lifeless girl lying on the ground, and hurried over. Ringtone. Naruto looked at the icy body, tears rolled down his cheeks. His eyes were full of sadness, and he said, Lingyan, I killed you. Naruto knelt on the ground while crying, and picked up Lingyan's body. Naruto-kun, please forgive me. Hinata ran over at some point, seeing Naruto hugging another girl and crying heartbreakingly. Although she felt a little sour in her heart, she still thanked this girl for protecting Naruto. Hinata knelt beside Naruto, gently wiping away Naruto's tears. Hinata, I'm going to take revenge. Naruto suddenly stood up and said to Hinata. Hinata said, but, who are you going to seek revenge on now? Naruto gritted his teeth and said, I'm going to kill that fool Otsutsuki. Naruto-kun, don't be impulsive, your strength is still very weak. Hinata said worriedly. Hinata, I will work hard to cultivate. I will kill him to avenge Suzune. Naruto clenched his fists and said resolutely. But I don't want you to have another accident, let's go back. Hinata said helplessly. Then she helped Naruto up on the ground, ready to send him out of here. At this moment, Naruto suddenly stopped, turned his head and looked behind him, his pupils shrank suddenly, showing a shocked expression. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Hinata asked strangely when she saw Naruto stopped. Wait for me, I have something for you. After speaking, Naruto turned his head and left. Seeing his back, Hinata frowned slightly. She knew Naruto's character, if something didn't happen, she wouldn't stop suddenly. She had to wait. At this time, Naruto also took out a scroll. This is a forbidden scroll. Hinata's eyes widened, not understanding what Naruto was going to do with it. Naruto handed the forbidden jutsu scroll to Hinata, and said firmly, Hinata, don't worry, the second Hokage has approved me to practice forbidden jutsu. I hope you can also learn some of the above advanced ninjutsu or forbidden jutsu. In the future, you will have more strength to protect yourself. I don't want to lose you again. Naruto's words deeply touched Hinata's heart. She felt Naruto's concern, and couldn't help but shed 2 lines of tears. She choked up and said, "Why are you bothering? Hinata, you have to promise me that you must become strong, and you must believe in yourself no matter what you encounter. I will wait for you to become strong enough, and then come to me. I promise you, Naruto-kun." Hinata nodded and said, "Well, I'm leaving then." Naruto's figure gradually receded, and finally disappeared into the darkness. Seeing Naruto's figure disappear from sight, Hinata's eyes flashed with pain, and he muttered to himself, "Naruto, why do I always feel that your departure is not because of me? Does your heart really still belong to me?" In the distance, Obito also sighed. The 2 of them are guys with the same life and love each other. Not only are they both the tail of the crane, but also have similar personalities. Obito sees that Naruto's current appearance is a bit like the madman's appearance after seeing Lin's death in the original book, so he can't help but feel a little worried. "Naruto, you don't do stupid things, do you?" Obito thought to himself, and hurriedly caught up with Naruto's figure. Obito followed behind Naruto, silently accompanying him until he was outside the village. After Naruto came outside Muya village, he suddenly raised his head to the sky and roared a few times, and then crazily destroyed everything around him with the 9 tails chakra, trying to vent all the pain in his heart. "Ring tone," Naruto yelled. His right hand suddenly turned into a huge sharp claw and grabbed the ground. Boom! A long ravine suddenly appeared on the ground, and then Naruto smashed a house with his palm, blowing up everything inside, venting his inner grief and anger. Ringtone. Naruto continued to vent his anger, attacking the ground with both hands. Boom boom boom. The entire Konoha building was destroyed, and the entire Konoha village became a mess. Naruto-kun. At this time, a familiar voice came into Naruto's ears. Naruto looked back, and saw that Obito had come behind him, and a pair of eternal myriad pupils, Sharingan, turned and cast an illusion on Naruto. Naruto soon lost consciousness and fell to the ground unconscious. "Go to sleep," Obito said softly to Naruto. After speaking, he stretched out his left hand and lifted it, and Naruto weighed it into his hand. Then he brought Naruto into Konoha village. "Naruto, rest well." Obito smiled at the unconscious Naruto and left. The Country of Rain, Shao Organization. Nagato and Konan were a little surprised to see Obito, who came back suddenly. A few days ago, Obito just told Nagato that the enemies of the Otsutsuki clan appeared in Konoha, and it was very difficult. Nagato originally wanted to send someone there. "You're back, has the Otsutsuki clan been dealt with?" Xiaonan asked with some concern. "It's not that easy." Obito sighed, and said, "I added Namikaze Minato and Senju Hashirama, and Senju Tomonama reincarnated from the dirt to barely wound him and escape, and now he is connected with Highway. There is no way for us to catch him. Speaking of which, there is one thing that you might be very interested in." Nagato paused and said, "Recently, the spies from our Rain Ninja village discovered that many massacres and bloodshed occurred in many Shounen villages, and the murderers who caused all this seemed to be a group of ninjas with sharing eyes." When Obito heard what Nagato said, he was shocked. Isn't this the plot of Bo Renzwan? In any case, it will take about 20 years. If what Nagato said is true, then Itsuki's high-level officials probably sent Itsuki Kinshiki, Otsutsuki Momoji, and Itsuki Mokurishi. Wrong. Obito suddenly became alert in his heart. If this is true, then this matter is definitely not as simple as imagined. It's all too coincidental. The more Obito thought about it, the more strange it became. Even if his time travel brought about a butterfly effect, it shouldn't be like this. It seemed that there was an invisible hand behind him that pushed the hostile forces several times. Xiaonan also noticed the abnormality of Obito, and she asked, "What's wrong?" Obito thought for a moment, and said, "If what Nagato said is true, then we will probably be ready for an all-out war with the Otsutsuki clan in the future." Xiaonan nodded. This is also something they must consider at present. Nagato then asked, "Then what are your plans?" Obito shook his head. His strength is far from being able to compete with the Otsutsuki clan. The most important thing for him now is to improve his strength, and when he has enough strength to fight against the Itsuki clan, and now Naruto and Sasuke have not grown up, he can't force Naruto and Hinata to give birth to Bo. At this time there was a knock on the door, and Chie walked in quietly. Scorpion, what's the matter with you? Nagato looked at Scorpion and said. Chie looked at Obito and said, Obito, boss, can you do me a favor? Obito was a little confused. Scorpio never liked to bother him unless something happened. Obito asked, you said. Chie looked at the two people around him, and then said, can you accompany me to the hidden sand village? Obito raised his eyebrows. He was quite interested in such things. He didn't know why Chie returned to the hometown he had left for many years. Seeing that Obito was a little moved, Chie immediately said, I need your help. Obito nodded. What's the matter? Chie took out a jade pendant from his bosom and handed it to Obito. Obito took the jade pendant. The jade pendant was dark gray with flying dragons and phoenix patterns carved on it. The material of this jade pendant was something he had never seen before. I know you are wondering what this is. Like Konoha, Cheyenne village also has a fragment of a jade seal left by the Datongmu clan. This is the jade pendant I own. A sad expression suddenly appeared on the expressionless face of the scorpion, and he said, this jade pendant was left by my dead parents. They all died in the hands of Konoha Shirato Hatake Sakumo during the Third Ninja World War. I kept this jade pendant as my parents' relic since I was a child. But when Konoha's large jade seal fragment was stolen by the large cylinder flame pillar a few days ago, my jade seal fragment suddenly shattered, and a spirit body seemed to appear inside. Complete collapse. It seems to be the soul of the ancestor of the Datongmu clan, and there is a map attached to it, which is the location of Cheyenne village, and the last place that soul points to is a secret room that my parents used to take me to. There must be something important buried there. Obito looked at the jade pendant in his hand in shock, and felt a strong sadness in his heart. He couldn't help but think of his parents in Blue Star. He wondered if he, a traveler, would have a chance to go back. What made him even more unbelievable was that Chie actually had such a secret. He didn't know how Chie spent these years, but from this jade pendant, he could feel Chie's inner desire for family affection. More importantly, this jade pendant also involved the Datongmu clan. It seemed that Chie's parents were not as simple as in the original book. I'm not sure about this, because the ancestor of that Otsutsuki is a very powerful character, and I haven't met other Otsutsuki when I was in Konoha. This kind of thing still depends on luck, but I will try my best to help you. When are you going to leave? Quote. Chie shook his head. He was not in a hurry. Obito thought for a while, and said, then let's leave at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The sooner we understand this kind of thing involving the Datongmu clan, the better. Chie hummed, and said, then I'll go back and prepare. After finishing speaking, he exited the room. Nagato also had a complicated look on his face, not knowing what he was thinking. Obito is thoughtful, not knowing what he is thinking. Xiaonan said with some concern, Obito, if the Otsutsuki clan is really that powerful, let a few more people from the Akatsuki organization go with you and Chie. Obito waved his hand and said, no need, not all of the Otsutsuki clan are strong. For example, Peach Style and Gold Style must absorb other people's ninjutsu. Obito said lightly. Xiaonan thought for a while, and felt that what Obito said was reasonable, so he didn't say much. Anyway, their strength is not bad, and they are all very powerful existences, so there is no need to worry too much. Nagato glanced at the two of them, and felt a lot more relaxed. During this period of time, he also saw that Xiaonan and Obito supported each other, and Chie also cooperated with him tacitly. The strength of the two of them is very good, and they both have a very calm personality. The three of them have been making suggestions for Urinen village. As for the relationship between Obito and Xiaonan, he has already seen that these two people must be unusual. The three of them are also smart people who know what to ask and what not to ask. What's more, Nagato will not disobey Obito, so he can only mourn in silence for the corpse with the green hat on Yahiko's head. Brother Yahiko, I'm sorry, people still have to look forward, you are already dead, so don't delay Xiaonan's happiness. Nagato said so in his heart. After Obito walked out of the door, he came to the pavilion organized by Akatsuki and found Onoki sitting on a recliner playing chess with Dedela, and the two laughed and cursed from time to time. Obito couldn't help feeling a little embarrassed, because he knew it was his own fault, and he had forgotten Onogi and Dedera these days. Obito thought for a while, then called Onoki and Didera softly, and when they looked up and saw Obito, their expressions changed, and Didera even threw away the chess piece in his hand. Onoki quickly stood up from the recliner and said to Obito, "You are the leader of the Akatsuki organization. How is Kuroto doing now?" Didera also hurried over, and asked eagerly, "Yes, Boss Tuzi, how is Haidu doing now? Has it recovered?" When Obito saw Didera, he felt embarrassed and a little guilty. He was really lustful that day. It may be that he was single in Blue Star for too long in his previous life. He came to the ninja world and didn't control himself. How can he say that he has green Dedela? He really likes Dedela in his heart. Although he is very nervous about his clay art, he is still a very loyal person. Ahem, Black Soil should have recovered without any problems, so I'll go find her right away," Obito said quickly. Onoki heaved a sigh of relief. These days, he lived directly in the Akatsuki organization with good food and drink. Wontu brought the medical ninjas from Yenian village and was driven back to the village by Onoki. "That's great. I can't go to see Haidu during this time. I will send someone to call her when her injury is fully recovered," Onoki said. Obito nodded, said good and left in a hurry. After coming to Shinwei Space, the first thing Obito sees is the pig face of Pigman. Haidu has completely recovered in Shinwei Space these days. As soon as Haidu saw Obito walking in, his pretty face turned cold instantly, and he said with a sneer at the corner of his mouth, "Yo, who am I, so you still remember that I'm alive?" Obito touched his nose in embarrassment, and said, "Ah, Kuroto, I'm here to give you a gift this time, do you like it?" When Haidu heard this, his eyes lit up, but then he thought of what Obito did to him that day, and his rationality was overwhelmed by anger. He roared, "I don't care, you fool, whoever you like, if you really want to give me a gift, let me beat you up." Kuroto glared at Obito viciously, with murderous intent in his beautiful eyes. If eyes could kill people, Obito would probably have died 10 or 8 times already. Obito was stunned for a moment, and then he felt very guilty. Now he understands why Xiao Huahuo was so embarrassing when he faced Medusa. Originally, he thought it was very simple that he could open a harem like other time travelers after time travel, but after coming to the ninja world for so long, he realized that these are real people, just as he would feel guilty about Minato and Kushina, and he would no longer treat Kuroto like a paper man. After thinking about it, Obito was still ready to take responsibility, and he stepped forward and grabbed Kuroto's wrist. "Haidu, I admit that I was sorry for you that day, so I want to make it up to you, as long as you are willing to forgive me," Obito said solemnly, with a serious face. Seeing Obito's serious appearance, Haidu couldn't help being taken aback for a moment, thinking, "This guy looks quite serious, let's not punch him a few times later." Haidu broke free from Obito's hand, and said coquettishly, "Stop talking nonsense, you did this to me, do you think I will forgive you?" Haidu couldn't help weeping when he thought that the relationship between himself and Dedela would become impure, and that they might even be separated. Seeing Haidu crying with pear blossoms in the rain, Obito panicked immediately, hugged her in his arms, and comforted her softly. "Haidu, I'm sorry, I know I was wrong, I shouldn't have treated you like this, just hit me a few times, don't cry anymore." When Haidu heard this, not only did he not stop sobbing, but he cried even harder. He broke free from Obito's embrace, squatted on the ground and began to cry. The pigman on the side didn't think it was a big deal to watch the excitement. He moved the reclining chair and knocked on the popcorn as if watching a soap opera, watching the emotional scene between the two of them solemnly. After a long time, Haidu stood up from the ground, wiped away his tears and said, "I won't beat you anymore, you saved my life, but you also did that to me, we're clean, I don't want to see you again, and I don't want you to set foot in Yenian village again." Black Soil. Obito felt very uncomfortable in his heart, he didn't want to be separated from Haidu just like this. If he couldn't keep Haidu today, not only Haidu would suffer for the rest of his life, but he would always feel guilty. He grabbed Haidu's hand and said, "Haidu, please believe me. Although I have done unforgivable things to you, I really have a deep love for you, and I will never have the slightest intention of betrayal in the future, I swear." Haidu withdrew her hand forcefully, her heart was full of hatred at the moment, she didn't need any vows, she just needed to let her scars disappear completely. "Have you said enough? Did you make it impossible for me and Didera to be together again?" Is my relationship with Black Earth so worthless? What do you think of me as a vase with someone who will accept someone's flirtatious behavior? Haitu's tear-stained pretty face was full of indifference. She looked at Obito's red lips and said lightly, "Get lost." Black soil. I don't want to say it a second time, get out. Haitu said in a more indifferent tone. Seeing that the two were completely at an impasse, Pigman also knew that he couldn't continue watching the show. After all, he was his boss, so let him, a veteran in love, help them match up. When Obito heard Haitu's order to chase away guests, he felt even more embarrassed. He knew that if he said a few more words, Haitu would not be such a simple matter of chasing guests away. Just at this moment, GGB walked over with his little belly. "Sister Haitu, don't be angry." Hearing Pigman's malicious and cute voice, Obito got goosebumps all over his body. But I didn't expect that Haitu had a very good attitude towards Pigman, and said with a slightly gentle face, "Little pig, you don't care about this kind of thing, you don't understand." Obito really can't hold back anymore. It seems that the relationship between Zujuman and Haitu is really very close these days, even such an intimate name is used. Pigman fell to the ground exaggeratedly with a sliding shovel, and said, "How can I not understand? Although I am not very old, I am also a person who has been bruised all over in love." Bah, pig. Looking at such a Pigman, Obito almost lost his expression. "You are such a big piece of meat, with such a sliding shovel, you are not afraid of getting your own face dirty. You are worthy of being a character in childhood comics," Obito couldn't help saying in his heart. Haitu's pretty face was also a little puzzled and said, "I didn't expect that you, a little pig, would be hurt by love." Pigman shook his head solemnly, and then said, "I once pursued a beautiful girl, Pig, she is so beautiful, and I am so humble." Pigman sighed again after speaking, and continued, "But in the end I still failed, because I knew that she already had a pig in her heart, and I knew that the pig she liked was Chow. Forget it, this is also my good friend. In short, I am not reconciled to missing him like this, so I worked hard to become stronger until one day." Zujusha spoke vividly and burst into tears. Even Daitu couldn't help but want to applaud him, and Haitu listened with great enthusiasm. "Let's talk about our boss. I know Sister Haitu, you must have a bad impression of our boss, but our boss is also a miserable person. He was born without parents and was an orphan, and his grandma passed away when he was young." When Obito heard this, he couldn't help but want to slap Pigman twice. Who are you going to arrange here, although Obito in the original book is indeed an orphan? When Haitu heard Zuzusha say that Obito had no money to buy pens and notebooks when he was a child and could only use sticks to write in the dirt, he couldn't help feeling a little bit of sympathy for Obito in his heart. He didn't expect him to have such a hard time as a child. Pigman continued to say tearfully, "Boss wouldn't have come to where he is today, until he met the girl who made him fall in love at first sight." Pigman said infatuatedly, "The boss fell in love with that girl named Nohara Lin on the third day of the ninja school, but that Nohara Lin didn't know, and then they." Pigman Bala talked a lot, successfully moved Kuroto, and looked at Obito with a little more sympathy in his eyes. In his heart, Obito's image successfully changed from a human scum to a person who was forced by Konoha and his experience and had to be somewhat psychologically distorted, human scum. In short, the boss has been abstinent for a long time these years, and you are so beautiful, so it is normal for the boss to see that you can't hold back that day. After all, few men will not feel good about you when they see you." Pigman smeared sodium chloride on his small mouth, and his heart was sour and sweet when he said black soil. He was a little happy to hear that Pigman praised himself for being beautiful, but he still couldn't forgive the behavior of Obito in his heart. "So, why can't you give our boss a chance? Didn't you tell me that your childhood sweetheart Didera often only cares about playing with clay and ignores you?" Seeing that, Pigman blinked his eyes wide and said. Haitu widened his beautiful eyes and said, "Little pig, are you trying to make me fall in love with someone else? No matter how Didera doesn't care about me, we have lived together for more than 10 years, and we still have feelings for each other. My grandfather also matched us. What about me and him? Only, just for this reason, you let me abandon the person I have liked for more than 10 years to like this psychologically twisted pervert." When Obito heard that Haitu's words were true, his head was sweating, but he didn't expect that Pigman's tricks made Haitu think he was a pervert. Then how about you give our boss a period of consideration? If he performs well during this period, how about giving him a chance? Pigman said unwillingly. Impossible. Haidu pressed Pigman's head vigorously and refused. Haidu turned his head and glanced at Obito and said, since you are also a miserable person, and you have saved my life, I don't want to pursue any grudges against you, but don't even think about letting me marry you. I will never marry you even if I am single. After speaking, Haidu flicked his sleeves and ran back to the room. Pigman stood in the open space with an expression of wanting to cry, and murmured, is the boss's happiness really so far away? Obito was speechless for a while after hearing this, but he didn't expect this guy to be really a showman. He sighed and helped Pigman up, and said, get up, everyone is gone, you're pretty good, if you need anything in the future, just let me know. Pigman's eyes lit up when he heard it, and the corners of his mouth grinned, smiling innocently. Obito walked to Haidu's room, knocked on the door and went in directly. Haidu sat on the bed with his knees hugged and his eyes were blank. When he saw Obito coming in, he immediately frowned and said, what are you doing here again? Obito said speechlessly, your body has also recovered, and you should go, or else your grandfather should be anxious in the Akatsuki organization. Haidu nodded and said, okay, let's go. The two walked out of the room, both a little embarrassed by each other, silent to each other. Onoki dozed off boredly outside, and when he saw the black soil and Obito coming out side by side, he immediately straightened up his old waist and regained his energy. Didera was also very excited to see the black soil coming out. Haidu kept his head down and looked at his toes, and only raised his head when he was in front of the two of them. Haidu, I miss you so much, it's fine if you're fine. Onoki said cheerfully. Haidu looked at Didera and Onoki with a forced smile and said, Grandpa, Brother Didera, I miss you too. Grandpa, I want to succeed you as toying. Haidu said suddenly after being silent for a moment. Onoki was stunned for a moment, then stroked his beard and said, with your talent, it's not impossible in time. Haidu, why do you suddenly have such an idea? To be honest, it would be a good choice for Kuroto to be Tukage. After all, Onogi knows that his granddaughter is strong on the outside and soft on the inside, and in time, she can also become a powerful ninja. What's more, it seems impossible for Didera to go back, and it seems that he has no other choice. Brother Didera, do you want to go back to Yenian village with us? Haidu looked at Didera and asked seriously. Didera was shocked when Haidu said that he wanted to be a toying Nong just now. Seeing Haidu asking himself so solemnly, he thought about it and said, I still don't plan to go back to Yenian village. Shao organization is still more suitable for me. You are still the same. Haidu smiled helplessly, a flash of relief flashed in his eyes. Seeing the expression on Haidu's face, Didera couldn't help but wonder, and said, Haidu, what's the matter, do you have something on your mind? Black Earth shook his head and smiled. Obito wanted to say something, but thinking of letting the two of them get along alone now, it's really inconvenient for him, an outsider, to be here. Haidu said dissatisfiedly, the next time we meet, we will be enemies, you have to be prepared. Haidu suddenly stared at Obito with beautiful eyes, and said with gritted teeth, and you'd better be careful, don't let me catch you, otherwise. Both Onoki and Didera didn't understand why Kuroto was so hostile to Obito. Onoki only felt that his granddaughter seemed to have changed a little, both in temperament and personality, but he couldn't tell. Grandpa, let's go. As Haidu said, he stepped out of the gate of Shao organization and left without looking back. As for Onoki, he glanced at Obito and Didera and left. After the two walked away, Didera asked a little confused, Boss Tuzi, what happened to Haidu? Why did his character suddenly become so rigid? This kind of girl who grew up with her from childhood suddenly became cold and rigid, which was a bit strange to anyone. Obito laughed awkwardly, probably because Kuroto had been blackened by himself, and he probably planned to learn from Terumi-Mei in this life and never marry. And I said that I will talk to Didera sooner or later about the matter with the black soil, but it depends on when. If Didera is emotional and throws urine village at C3 or plays self-destruct, it will be bad. Obito didn't even know what kind of emotion Didera had towards Haidu. If he said he didn't care, Haidu begged himself in a heartbroken heart. When he heard that she was getting married, he hurried back to Yenian village to see her. If he wanted to say he cared, he refused to go back to Yenian village. It's nothing. You don't have to think too much about it. Haito just has a hardened personality. She is a very stubborn girl. No matter what she encounters, she can grit her teeth and get through it. Obito still plans to stop talking about it for the time being, but Haito must still have a chance to go to Yenian village to find him. After all, he is not the kind of irresponsible man. The most urgent task now is to go to Cheyenne village with Chie tomorrow. The next morning, Scorpion took Obito with him and left. Obito and Scorpion have been living in a giant puppet house in Scorpion. Their room is modeled after the wooden house at the entrance of Sandy Village. It is the best room in Sandy Village in Scorpion's memory. Moreover, there is no lack of various necessities in this wooden house. As long as you have time, you can live here, which is much more comfortable than living in a cave in the cottage. The Scorpion is really full of black technology. In the puppet house, you can not only use chakra lines to control your journey, but also have all kinds of living facilities. Scorpion can even create a few small puppets here, and each of them still has fighting power, but they are all aimed at ordinary ninjas, and their main purpose is to cook and work. There is a huge bed in Shia's room, covered with white sheets, embroidered with a lot of delicate and complicated patterns. Obito was lying on the bed and looking at the roof. His eyes were slightly closed in comfort. He didn't expect Chie to enjoy it quite a bit. At this time, a teenager in a nightgown came over with a glass of milk. He has a handsome face, a thin but well-proportioned figure, deep-set eyes, a high nose bridge, thin and pretty lips, short red hair, and indifferent eyes. This boy is the Red Sand Scorpion, the most talented puppet master in the ninja world. After he handed Obito the milk in his hand, he turned around and sat on the sofa and continued to stare at his puppet, whether he was manipulating the chakra line. Chie, can't we go the wrong way if we can't see outside? Obito asked doubtfully. Chie smiled stiffly, and said, no, I am very familiar with the road in Hidden Sand Village, and the progress of the puppet will be fed back to me through the chakra line. You see, it's like this. Obito raised his head and looked forward, and he saw fine chakras stretching out in front of him, and these filaments would continue to extend out some small light clusters, and then these light clusters would gather together to form a ring-like thing, and then this light cluster would pass through some places along the way. These thin lines will absorb everything in the road into a disc, and these discs are the indicators for the puppet house. This is the way they have lived in Cheyenne village for more than 10 years, and they do this every time. Obito felt that it was quite safe, so he gave up the idea of asking again. So he lay quietly on the bed and fell asleep. After walking for several hours, Scorpion's puppet house stopped. Obito opened his eyes in a daze, and asked, have you arrived yet? Chie nodded and said, we've reached the outermost edge of Cheyenne village, and it's not safe to go in like this. Obito suddenly remembered that Tiandaochao had been repairing in the system space, and asked the system, Tongzi, is Tiandaochao restored? The system said, Tiandaochao has repaired of the time, do you want to extract it? Take it out. Obito thought for a while, and Brother Chao's strength seemed to be enough. So Tiandaochao suddenly appeared beside Obito. Scorpion stared at the sudden appearance of Pain Tiandaochao, and asked, isn't this the Tendao Pain puppet of the old leader Nagato? Did he give Tiandao Pain to you? Obito smiled and said, my heavenly Dao Pain is stronger than his heavenly Dao Pain. The current combat power is on par with Nagato's Tiandao Pain, or even slightly better. In this world, I am the only one who can control him, but it is a pity that he is not yet at his peak. Obito said with some emotion, Brother Chao himself has an IQ, and he was obviously displeased when he heard Chie say that, but Obito didn't say anything, and he wouldn't say anything rashly. Brother Chao, take us into the air and enter the Hidden Sand Village. Obito said. Tiandaochao used the ability of Samsara Eye, and several people quickly flew into the air. This is the outskirts of Hidden Sand Village and an important location of Hidden Sand Village. The defense measures of Hidden Sand Village here are very strict. Even if Cage Level visits in person, it may not be able to break through, and the defense network of Hidden Sand Village is very strong. If there is any movement, the old guys like Chio will go back soon. This is the only place in Hidden Sand Village that is not afraid of foreign enemies entering. As for the original Gaara, why was Didera single-handedly captured and no one stopped him? It's not that no one can stop it, it's that Daedalus is too reckless to be able to quickly ride a bird to fly into the sky. The three of them gradually flew to the periphery, and found that there was a dense rocky land besides sand-hidden village, and in the rocky land, they could faintly sense the breath of many ninjas. These ninjas are male and female, old and young, and they all come to explore the surrounding environment. The closer the Obito trio flew to sand-hidden village, the fewer ninjas there were, but the amount of breath and chakra increased. What's going on here? Shie frowned. He felt a little weird, and couldn't help but lower his head to look at the rocky ground on the ground. The soil of this rocky land is grayish-brown, and there are many fine indentations on the rock surface, like some special symbols. With a thought in Shia's mind, he dropped a small puppet from the sky and landed on the ground. Holding a chakra thread in his hand, the puppets climbed up slowly along the symbols, and finally disappeared on the ground, leaving only a few crystals the size of copper plates. There were small white balls wrapped in the crystal, and Shie asked the puppet to bring up some of them, and put them in front of his eyes for a look. Upon seeing this, Obito immediately asked, "What is this? Shie, do you know any secrets?" But Shie said strangely, "This small white ball is a forbidden technique in Hidden Sand Village. It can make human beings lose all their chakra and eventually die. Comparable to the most violent poison. Why is it buried in the ground in a large area, and the scorpion just saw something abnormal here and doesn't know why?" Obito was taken aback for a moment, and then asked again, "Scorpion, can this kind of small ball make people lose their chakra?" "Yeah," Scorpion nodded. "These small balls are specially cultivated toxins during the Third Ninja World War in Hidden Sand Village, and they are specially used to kill and injure enemies. Perhaps other enemies have already entered the Hidden Sand Village." A stern look appeared in Shia's eyes. Although this kind of white ball only makes chakra disappear, it can quickly rot the body and eventually become a skeleton. This is absolutely unbearable for a ninja. What Shie said made Obito's expression change. Shie was right, there were indeed other enemies in Hidden Sand Village, because that person might really be the group of guys from the Otsutsuki clan who had the same purpose as them. "Let's go to your parents' secret room right now," Obito said to Scorpion. Scorpion nodded, and the three of them gradually landed on the ground after a while. This is a long-abandoned piece of land in Cheyenne Village. Looking at the dilapidated houses in front of him, a memory flashed in his eyes. At that time, Cheyenne Village was also barren, but his parents still loved him as a baby. Until the beginning of the Third Ninja World War, his parents went to the battlefield and were killed by Tsukumo Hatake and never came back, and he became alone. His parents are the heroes of Hidden Sand Village, but he is very lonely. His first puppet work is Father and Mother, which was made when he desperately longed for fatherly love and motherly love in his childhood. "Let's go in." Scorpion broke free from the memory, glanced at the dilapidated house, and then walked in. Squeal. The door of the room opened, and a strong smell of decay came out, and there were many bones inside. There are human beings as well as animals. Shie turned on the light in the room, and the room brightened instantly, but the tragic scene inside made Shie feel uncomfortable. The walls inside are covered with human skeletons. There are men, women, and even children, all of whom are in extreme pain. "This is..." Obito looked at Scorpion and asked suspiciously. "Isn't this the place where Shie lived with his parents since childhood? How could this be? Someone has been here before," Scorpion said with a gloomy face. Shie walked into the room and looked at the skeletons on the ground. These skeletons were all killed, and they were not ordinary people. There were men, women, old and young, all of them were ninjas from Cheyenne Village, and these ninjas all died here for some special reasons. Scorpion squatted down and carefully observed the wounds on the bones. They were all injured by sharp weapons. Scorpion's hands kept forming seals, and soon, a huge ice mirror formed in the air, covering the entire ground, and only then, Scorpion could clearly see the structure of this house. In the center of the house, there is a column, and on the top of the column, there is a huge crack. "Gia Gia Gia," someone actually broke in. A sinister voice sounded. Shie and Obito looked up, and saw a pale man standing on the top of the beam, wearing a white robe, with two horns on his head, white pupils, and holding a fish hook in his hand. "Who are you? Are you from Cheyenne Village? How did you come here? Don't you know that outsiders are absolutely not allowed to enter this room?" Shie snorted coldly. The man's lips moved slightly, and he let out a strange laugh. "It doesn't matter who I am, I just want to ask, do you know where that thing is? Xie frowned and said, pretending to be a ghost, what are you talking about? Obito's eyes were fixed, and he said lightly, Itsuki Mokura style, right? After reading the blogger's biography, he immediately recognized this man. Although Pushi acted like a waste in the blogger's biography, he was actually very strong in terms of setting. That's right, it's the deity. After hearing Urashiki's confession, Obito was silent. Urashiki is one of the Otsutsuki trio. Among them, his strength is comparable to Senjujuma and them. It can be said that he is barely one of the top masters. However, if he wants to kill himself, Obito sneered, then he must be prepared to be killed by himself. I didn't expect someone to know me. It seems that you are very unusual. Urashiki stared at Obito steadfastly. It is impossible for someone in the ninja world to know Otsutsuki itself, let alone this person actually knows his name. This is even more difficult. No matter what, since this person knows himself, he must be killed. Thinking of this, Urashiki's eyes became more ferocious, while Obito looked at him calmly at this moment. Suddenly, Urashiki disappeared, and Obito suddenly turned his head to look in the direction of Urashiki, only to see that Urashiki had appeared in front of him, and with a wave of his right hand, a huge sickle appeared, slashing at Obito. Obito was startled, and hurriedly dodged. Haha, kid, I expected you to run away. Pushi laughed, I don't believe that you can take my knife. Pu-style eyes can switch between white eyes, blue reincarnation eyes, and red six-hook jade reincarnation eyes. The Pu-style red six-hook jade reincarnation eye can speed up the opening speed of Wonkwon Bilyongsaka. It not only has the basic ability of reincarnation eye, but also has the blood following the net to open Wonkwon Bilyongsaka. It can open a black portal out of thin air and can freely shuttle in different spaces. One of the abilities of the blue reincarnation eye is time retrospect, which can let oneself go back from the current time point to the previous few seconds. Experience the enemy's moves many times, so as to see the opponent's moves clearly and choose the safest way to deal with it. Another ability is the Thousand Paper Crane's instant body, can transform itself into a few red paper cranes at the moment of being attacked and disappear from the eyes of the enemy. After that, Pushi can appear anywhere at will, and there is still time to freeze. This is one of the abilities of the Otsutsuki clan. It can freeze the opponent's time and can also be used as a sealing technique. This ability was created before Urashiki's growth. The day he grew up was the misfortune of the ninja world, but the only good thing is that Urashiki's ability is against the sky, but its power is not great, and there is no particularly eye-catching performance. While dodging Urashiki's scythe, Obito thought about how to deal with it. These moves of Urashiki are very powerful and cannot be head-to-head. However, Urashiki's attack speed was very fast, and it was a sneak attack. Obito directly turned on the blur, and Urashiki's attack passed through Obito's blurred body. HMPH, you dare to sneak attack me? Obito said with a cold snort. This sentence immediately caught Pushi's attention. Do you know who I am? Who are you? Pushi was shocked, because he had never mentioned his name to anyone in this year. How did this person know? Susanoo. Obito didn't dare to be careless, and directly activated the Susanoo state. 8-foot Chonguyu. Susanoo with the soil almost hit the 8-foot Chonguyu towards Pushi. Pushi was furious when he saw this, he didn't expect the other party to have Susanoo's ability. Golden Mirror. Pushi waved his hand, and a mirror appeared in the palm of his hand, and then the mirror became bigger and blocked in front of him. Bang bang bang. The two fought dozens of moves, and Obito still had the upper hand, but Pushi couldn't take it anymore. Shen Luo Tianzhong. Pushi switched to Lugoyu Samsara Eye, released a large Shenluo Tianzhong, and endless waves of air forced towards Obito Susanoo. Susanoo was almost blown away by the air current, a contemptuous smile appeared on the corner of Obito's mouth. He knew that the power of this kind of Shenluo Tianzhong was not very great, because it could only hit him when he had Susanoo's defense, and it would also affect the surrounding environment. With such a large fluctuation, the ninjas in Hidden Sand Village were probably alarmed, and they would come over in a while. So, don't worry about it at all. Kamui Shuriken. Obito cut the Ura-style golden mirror into pieces with a Kamui Shuriken. Ah! Pushi howled in pain. At this time, he suddenly felt a powerful attraction around him, and he was pulled out, and the strange shuriken that hit him would suddenly distort the space. What is this ability? Urashiki also judged that Obito probably has the ability of space, so he used Huangquan Hirasaka's ability to directly let time go back. Fushi disappeared in place. At this time, Obito was stunned. Why did he disappear? Obito was surprised. This guy can disappear. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps in the distance. Obito disappeared after Urashiki disappeared, and Obito just appeared in place when Urashiki appeared in place. The two returned to their previous positions. The difference was that Obito's consumption hadn't recovered. Fushi sneered. He had figured out Obito's ability and attack routine just now, and the next step would be easy. Little devil, die. A huge sickle appeared in Urashiki's hand. At this time, Urashiki's sickle had been transformed into a giant weasel blade, and there were countless barbs on it. Even if it couldn't hurt Obito, it could still slow down Obito's movement speed. Obito looked at the scythe, his eyes sparkling. Did you use this scythe to kill countless guards here in Sand Hidden Village, and let these people die? Today, I will take your dog's life, Obito said. After Obito finished speaking, he was ready to make a move, but at this moment, he suddenly found that his actions were greatly restricted. Ha 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 ha, Fushi laughed. Just now he used one of his spiritual weapons, the red fishhook, to secretly hook Obito. Although Obito was not injured, it temporarily disturbed the chakra in Obito's body. Crows, black ants, salamanders. Scorpion saw that Obito was in a bad situation, so he quickly summoned 3 puppets that he had become famous for, and manipulated them to attack Otsutsu Mokpashiki. Datsutsu Mokpashiki also looked excited when he saw the 3 puppets running towards him. Because these 3 puppets are very finely crafted, he has never seen them before, so he is very interested. Do you think you are the only one who can use poison? Otsutsu Mokura saw that the 3 puppets of the scorpion were approaching him, and the black ant had a hole in its abdomen, continuously spraying poisonous gas at him, and quickly manipulated his sickle to fight against the black ant. While dodging the venom sprayed by the black ants, Otsutsu Mokurishi manipulated 3 puppets to continue attacking the black ants. Ah! The black ant wailed for a while, its abdomen was punctured, blood flowed, fell to the ground and struggled for a few times before it moved. Behind the black ant, the salamander sprayed out a bomb, which exploded towards Datong Mokpa. Haha, great, you're dead. Otsutsu Mokura watched the black ant fall, and said excitedly, this level of poison can't do anything to me at all. You just wait to die. At this moment, the abdomen of the black ant was exploded, and a bomb was sprayed out. The bomb of the black ant mixed with the bomb of the salamander and exploded in front of Otsutsu Mokura, and Otsutsu Mokura also waved the sickle to sweep away the bomb, but he was still unable to avoid being slightly injured. But the black ant escaped from the explosion, and attacked Otsutsu Mokbashi again, looking desperate. When Otsutsu Mashiki saw the black ants attack again, Scorpion also manipulated the puppet crow to sneak behind Otsutsu Mokashiki. Sharp blades appeared on the crow's arms, and the 3 puppets besieged Otsutsu Mokashi from front and back. Otsutsu Mokurashiki did not expect to encounter such a difficult problem. While avoiding the black ants, he controlled the scythe to attack the crows around him. Otsutsu Mokurashiki is also a smart man. Although his strength is much stronger than puppets like Black Ant Crow, he doesn't want to show his cards in front of this troublesome enemy Obito, so he can only fight 3 puppets in a mixed manner. Obito's chakra also gradually recovered, and the practical Kamui danced wildly, and the infinite flame vortex also burned towards Otsutsu Mokura Shiki. Otsutsu Mokura Shiki was fighting with the puppet, and his face sank when he saw Atsuki's flames. How can this guy's strength recover so quickly? Boom! Obito's Bakufang Renwu was indeed terrifying. It toppled all the surrounding buildings to the ground at once. Datong Mokura also suffered burns. A large area of skin was burned off, exposing golden bones, and blood came out of the wound. Reincarnation I Coercion. Fushi let out a loud roar, and his samsara pupils could burst out a powerful airflow through the air. The coercion of Obito disappeared immediately, and at the same time, his body became weak and weak. And when the coercion disappeared, he also saw the wound on Itsuki Mokura's body heal at a speed visible to the naked eye, which surprised Obito very much. Otsutsu Mokura laughed wildly, and swallowed his blue eyes of reincarnation and the chakra in the red fish basket in one gulp. The white eyes of both eyes turned golden, and the golden eyes of reincarnation opened on the forehead. After the transformation, Urashi cannot use all the abilities before the transformation, but becomes very powerful in terms of physical speed and strength, and can use the ability of Shinluo Tianzhong, swallowing ninjutsu, and can also create black sticks. Both Obito and Scorpion's expressions changed, and Scorpion directly used the big move to perform 100 machines, and directly used the scroll to channel 100 puppets, and manipulated 100 puppets on the chakra line. And under such circumstances, Itsuki Mokura Shiki is still not afraid of Obito's big move, and can still resist Obito Susanoo's attack with ease. This made Obito and Scorpion feel bad. HMPH, even if your ult is powerful, but under my transformation, no coercion is useless. I'll let you try what's hopeless. After Otsutsu Mokura finished speaking, he directly controlled the chakra black stick built by one of the 6 paths to kill Obito. Seeing this, Otsutsu could only fight head-on, and controlled Susanoo to fight with the chakra black stick. The attacks of Obito and Scorpion are very fierce, but Itsuki Kagaya is not afraid at all, because after the transformation, it is more convenient for him to use Wonkwon than Leongsaka. The reason why he keeps opening the door of space and constantly shuttles through the space is because he is an infinite bug, so he can directly shuttle in the space without consuming any energy, so he can use teleportation at will. Itsuki Mokura continued to dodge Obito's attacks, and Obito was also quickly thinking about countermeasures. Although Obito's Hitomi can be used to attack Itsuki Mokura as a physical entity, other gods are useless against Otsutsu Mokura. But Obito still wants to try whether he can use other gods to interfere with Itsuki Mokura's style. If you can interfere with the Otsutsu Mokpa pose, you can relieve yourself of stress. Thinking of this, Obito manipulated the huge Susanoo straight to the Itsuki Mokura style. Itsuki Mokura saw Obito's attack, and directly used the space transformation technique to avoid it. The Scorpion controlled the large puppet to rush into the space. Datong Mupushi saw the movement of the Scorpion, and the corner of his mouth was slightly raised. The Scorpion also knew Pushi, and escaped by using space escape. He knew that space escapism was an extremely rare ability, even Scorpion didn't know it, but in order to injure Pushi severely, Scorpion couldn't care less. Datsutsu Mokpashi saw that the large puppet didn't catch up, but came towards him instead. His face froze slightly. The Scorpion controlled the black ants to rush over quickly, while controlling the black ants to attack the Otsutsu Mokpa style, and at the same time controlled the black ants to attack the puppets around it. The Itsuki Mokura continuously hovers in the air, and continuously releases lightning bolts to attack the surrounding puppets. These puppets were struck by lightning, not only were not damaged, but they could be repaired quickly. Otsutsu Mokura looked at the black shadow wrapped in black ants, and his face became more and more gloomy. Next to Obito, the Scorpion controls his own puppets to continuously attack the Otsutsu Mokura style. Although the number of puppets is not many, the quality is high enough. There are 100 puppets. Bring soil, Scorpion shouted, and controlled the puppet to violently hit Datong Mokura. Datong Mopo style let out a cold snort, and controlled the black stick to hit the Scorpion. At the same time, a Shinluo Tianzhong, a strong air flow gushed out from the golden reincarnation eyes of Datong Mopo style. Bang bang bang. 100 puppets were blown away by the airflow, and several of the Scorpion's puppets were also crushed by the airflow. Scorpion looked at the shattered puppets and gritted his teeth. Many puppets began to release poisonous gas at Datong Mokpa style during the machine exercise, while Scorpion controlled other puppets to kill Datong Mokpa style in the dark. Seeing that his puppet was wiped out, Scorpion immediately manipulated the puppet to attack Datong Mokura. At the same time, 2 huge tails appeared behind a puppet at the core. Each of these tails was more than 3 meters long, and they were covered with venom. Fushi saw a group of Shia's puppets attacking him. With a sneer on his face, he manipulated the black stick in Samsara's eyes to suddenly throw it out. Bang! A black balloon flew out of Datong Mopu's reincarnation eyes, and instantly hit the puppet bodies of those scorpions. Bang! 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 The puppets of those scorpions exploded immediately. Humph! Itsuki Mokura snorted coldly, and manipulated the eyes of Samsara to shoot out the black air wave of Shinluo Tianzhong again. This time, the black air wave did not hit the puppets of the scorpions, but hit the big pillar next to it. The big pillar was immediately lifted by the air wave and smashed hard on the ground. What is this? Scorpion said in surprise. The corner of Datong Mokura's mouth curved slightly, and the huge pillar collapsed and fell towards the body of the scorpion. The scorpion quickly let the salamander puppet defend itself, and then controlled the puppet to run backwards. Boom, boom, boom. The big pillar fell heavily on the ground, and the whole ground was cracked. Scorpion and his puppets were all crushed under it. Scorpion stood up with difficulty. Seeing that the big pillar had collapsed, he quickly let the salamander puppet crawl out. The salamander puppet was already shattered. Wonkwan Hirasaka. Otsutsuki Arashi used Wonkwan Hirasaka to drive strips of Wonkwan's power into the scorpion's puppet, and the scorpion's puppet immediately became more violent, and the scorpion's body gradually became transparent. The body of the scorpion became more and more transparent, and the powerful force of time and space caused the body of the scorpion to gradually disintegrate in the Otsutsu Mokura style, but it did not stop. He wants to let Xie die in Wonkwan Bilyongban, let him know how powerful he is. At this moment, he also felt that his body was gradually collapsing, but he was not worried, because he still had the most powerful trump card, which was his own reincarnation. All of this is because of Wonkwan Hirasaka. Otsutsu Mokpa style manipulated the eyes of reincarnation to shoot Shinluo Tianzhong, and then shot countless powers of the underworld to hit the puppets of the scorpion. Haha, die, die, you bad guy, dare to challenge my authority, now you are dead. Otsutsu Mokura said arrogantly. Scorpion raised his head and looked at Mokura Otsutsu with a sneer. Do you think you are sure to win? Do you think I didn't make a move? Ha ha ha. After finishing speaking, Scorpion's puppet suddenly pulled out a blade from the ground, with blood on the blade. What's going on? Why is there blood flowing out of your puppet? Itsuki Mokura asked suspiciously. This situation was beyond his comprehension. Xie sneered and said, you will know the reason soon. After finishing speaking, Xie picked up the knife and stabbed at his chest. Puff, puff, puff. Blood spewed out, and large swaths of blood flowers bloomed in the air. Itsuki Mokura stared at Xie with wide eyes. He couldn't figure it out. How could Xie choose to commit suicide? It shouldn't be. Scorpion sneered and said, I told you a long time ago that all of your things are within my calculations. I guessed that you would kill me, so I was ready long before I died. I was ready to sacrifice myself, but, I didn't expect you to be so fast, and you would strike first. But I want to tell you that my body has been transformed into a puppet by myself. When I destroy my body, the poison and explosion in my body are enough to destroy half of Cheyenne village. Asshole. After listening to Datong Mokpashi, he roared angrily, and manipulated the eyes of Samsara to shoot a black stick, which directly hit the body of a puppet in front of Scorpion, completely destroying the body of that puppet. Scorpion, calm down, what are you doing? Obito was startled when he saw that Scorpion wanted to kill himself like Didera and blew himself up. A Kamui came to Scorpion and grabbed the blade in his hand, and then jumped into the sky to fight Kushi again. Wood Dun Senluo explosive gun. Obito's figure flashed behind Otsutsu Mokura like a flash of lightning, and the javelin transformed into Otsutsu Mokura slashed at Otsutsu Mokashi fiercely. Otsutsu Mokura hurriedly manipulated the reincarnation eyes to shoot the black stick in front of him, but the javelin passed through the black stick and hit Otsutsu Mokashi's body hard. Datsutsu Mokura covered the wound, glared at Obito, his eyes were full of anger. Obito seals again. Wood Dun the art of flower and tree realm. The vines of Konoha 4 seasons are plants that grow in the woods. They are highly poisonous and highly intelligent. They will act according to the will of the enemy. Datsutsu Mokura saw that countless branches suddenly protruded from the woods in front of him and came towards him, and the countless branches were poisonous. He hurriedly waved the black stick in his hand, and the black stick instantly burned. A black mist enveloped those tree roots. A trace of gloom appeared on Datong Mokura's face, and the reincarnation eye in his hand shot out several black sticks again. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 2 Itsuki Mokura-style anxiety points. Obito sneered when he heard it. It seemed that Arashiki was also getting anxious. The reinforcements from Sand Hidden Village were probably coming soon. Obito thought about it, and he still had a whole card that he didn't use. Obito took out the Asura Cell solution that Orochimaru gave him from the Kamui space, drank it in one gulp, and immediately the strong vitality, Mudden Shueiji and Yangdun chakra rushed into Obito's body crazily. and countless wood-escape chakras appeared on his body. The skin on his body gradually became hot, and the power in his body also began to increase, and his body size began to swell. The strong change couldn't help but let out a low growl in his mouth. Itsuki Mokura felt the changes around him, and frowned. This kind of power. Haha, it worked, I also have the power of Asura. Obito laughed as he felt the power surging in his body. Itsuki Mokura looked at Obito, narrowing his eyes slightly. What's going on here? This kind of power is something you will never understand. Itsuki Mokura, you lose. Break it. Datong Mupu roared, and the Samsara Eye shot out 6 Tao-seeking jades, and flew towards Obito. Obito has fused the power of Asura, and a pair of eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan has also evolved into Samsarayan. There is also a chakra comparable to Uzumaki Naruto and Senjujuma, and he has also mastered Mewtwo's blood succession limit. Shenluo Tianzhong. With the eyes of reincarnation, Obito couldn't wait to release a Shenluo Tianzhong to hit Pushi. He wanted to kill this nasty old man completely. Boom. The 6 Tao-seeking jades played by Pushi exploded the moment they touched Obito Shenluo Tianzhong, turning into golden light spots all over the sky. Ha 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 ha, it's useless. It's useless. Your strength can't shake my body at all. Pushi said stiffly. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 3 Itsuki Mokura style shock emotion points. A smile appeared on the corner of Obito's mouth. It seemed that although Arashiki was tough on the outside, he was still shocked and apprehensive about Obito's soaring strength and changes in his heart. Obito. Arashiki was afraid, and used Obito again. This time, Wangquan Biliangban was much stronger than last time. Last time, Arashi wanted to injure Obito, so as to shock Obito. This time, he planned to kill Obito directly. Your strength has surpassed the limit of ordinary humans, but unfortunately your strength is still far behind. After Pushi's words fell, layers of black mist emerged from his body. The mist exuded a gloomy and cold atmosphere, making the air icy cold, and even icicles formed on the ground, which looked very strange. Seeing this, Obito's face also changed slightly, and this Pushi actually summoned the black mist again. This kind of black mist is what Obito hates the most, because it not only corrodes the immunity of the human body, but also invades the spirit of the person, causing the victim to have hallucinations and fall into the illusion, so he is killed by Arashiki. Obito's goal is to defeat Arashiki, so he must first kill Arashiki's mind control before he can solve Arashiki's black mist. Thinking of this, Obito immediately used his Yongdan Otsutsuki Yanlong fist, burning balls of raging flames around his body. These flames all contained Obito's chakra. After the blazing flames burned, they formed a giant fireball and smashed towards Pushi. HMPH. Pushi looked at the big fireball flying towards him with disdain on his face. He stretched out his hand and waved lightly, and a dark cloud blocked the front of the big fireball. Boom. The big fireball hit the dark cloud and made a muffled sound, but it didn't disperse the dark cloud. Instead, it lightened the color of the dark cloud a lot. Obviously, the big fireball couldn't completely destroy the dark cloud. Junior, I want to see how long you can last. Pushi said. Then try it. Obito narrowed his eyes slightly, and a powerful chakra gushed out from his body, pouring it into Itsuki Yanlong fist, increasing the attack power of Otsutsuki Yanlong fist by countless times, smashing the black cloud with one punch, and blasting towards Arashiki. Heavenly Obstacle Shocking Star. Obito once again used one of the abilities of Samsara Eye, Sky Obstructing Shocking Star. Boom. The big fireball hit the giant meteorite of Tianzhongjian, making a huge roar. Cracks spread from the front of the big fireball, and then the big fireball was directly blasted by Tianzhong Zhengxing, and Tianzhong Zhengxing slammed straight into the Datong Mokpa style, as if it was going to crush the Datong Mokpa style to death. This is the power of the Eyes of Reincarnation. All conspiracies and tricks have nowhere to hide under the Eyes of Reincarnation. How is this possible? Pushi's face suddenly turned pale. He didn't expect his attack to be defeated so easily by the opponent. What's going on? Obito's pupils shrank suddenly, and he felt that his chakra had been consumed a lot at once, and the remaining chakra had disappeared all of a sudden. Obito knew that this must be caused by Otsutsu Mokura style ninjutsu, but Otsutsu Mokura style is not having a good time right now. He used Taoist Jade to form a barrier in an attempt to resist the impact of the meteorite, but found that his defense did not work at all. Boom. After all, the Datong Mokpa style shield could not stop him, and the impact of the meteorite from the Tianyi Junction hit him hard, sending him flying out of the impact, and fell heavily to the ground. Puff. A mouthful of blood spewed out of Ku Shi's mouth. Obviously he was injured by the shock star. That's right, he didn't die, and that's because I didn't use the Otsutsuki Yanlong fist. Obito said in surprise. He didn't expect that Ku Shi was not dead. Junior, don't be too rampant. Urashiki wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth. Madness flickered in his eyes. He knew that Obito's attack was very powerful, but his defense was even stronger. I haven't exhausted my attack yet, but I can't use the ability of Samsara Eye for the time being. How about your defense? Obito made a seal again, and today he also wants to try the power of wooden ninjutsu in the Atsuki Mokura style. Obito shouted in a low voice, Wood Dunsi of trees is coming. Soil art. Hurrah! Crash! Hurrah! Countless big trees appeared from all directions, covering the sky. These big trees were hundreds of meters high, and each big tree was covered with dense branches and leaves, covering the whole world. What? Urashiki was taken aback. These trees wrapped around Mokurishi, and Urashiki couldn't dodge it if he wanted to dodge it. He could only cover his body in the defensive layer formed by his chakra. Boom. Rumble. A large tree hit the top of the defensive layer, knocking Ku Shi into the air, but the defensive layer was not broken through. Wood escape. Tree binding eternal burial. Obito used a wood escape ninjutsu again, and countless wooden vines emerged from the ground, entwined around Urashiki's body, making Urashiki unable to move, while his body was filled with countless vines, binding Urashiki tightly. No. Ku Shi's expression turned extremely ugly. He didn't expect Obito's attack to be so fast and sharp. His defense was completely useless against the opponent. However, Ku Shi is a veteran JNIN after all, and in this despair, he still burst out his potential. He exerted his last chakra, kicked his feet hard, and broke free from the vines wrapped around his body. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.